There was one time I was walking home from school or from gym, I don't remember. And I was just messaging you, and I was like, this... Oh, boy. Like, I remember when I broke top 10 first time, I still didn't care because I had been breezing through it so easily. I was like, okay, there's no rank 1. And it's like, no way in bounds, what are these two people doing that no one else really does? They're just laughing, smiling every single stream, every single moment. And that's very hard to do, but that's what you should strive to. There was one period, like a week straight, there was full LCK lobbies every single game, or LPL. Like, it was the most fun league I've ever had in my entire life. And he's like, this guy is the best bootcamper we ever seen play. Like, I'm seeing Seraphs embrace Sona first. Like, please, LS, can we get some statistics on this? But that don't make sense. If we don't do that, we're gonna sit here sniffing some copium, saying that G2 is gonna do something, when we all know they won't do anything. And the other teams, we don't even remember who they are. And I want to look into next year and be like, we can win Worlds because we're good enough. Not because we're going to draw some shit team that never do well internationally because they have nerves. Not because we're going to draw the bad team, but because we're going to draw the good teams and we're going to play better than them.
NattyNatt, how familiar are you with the story of Mike Tyson and Cos D'Amato? Cos D'Amato was Mike Tyson's trainer.
I'm aware that he like took him in and was a good man for Mike Tyson. That's what I know.
So Cos D'Amato was Mike Tyson's trainer for a period of his life, and basically the idea was Mike Tyson was like a very, I don't know if you know the story of Mike Tyson, but like he grew up, both his parents were sex workers. He's kind of like had a bit of a rough upbringing. And the thing that Mike Tyson always says is that he never really looked up to someone like Muhammad Ali. People always assume that Muhammad Ali was Mike Tyson's hero. He was to some extent, but he liked another fighter called Duran, because Duran was like a dirty fighter, and he made it popular to not look pretty and handsome. Mike Tyson wasn't handsome like Ali. He didn't fight clean like Ali. He didn't fight with sportsmanship. He was like a beast. And part of that is that Cos D'Amato, when he trained Mike Tyson, he basically like kind of like, the stories are kind of weird. It's like he like hypnotized him, and he basically like took him to a place where like he tried to turn him into like a machine, like an animal almost. That's kind of the way he describes it. It's like he tried to make him believe that he was a lion, he was a tiger. And that's like what made Mike Tyson so powerful. And a lot of the thing is that apparently when Cos D'Amato died, that's when Mike Tyson really couldn't do it anymore. Like he lost that inner belief. The reason I'm bringing this up is, are you aware that you also went on sort of a Cos D'Amato journey at the beginning of your league career, didn't you?
I don't know what you mean by that.
what back before anyone knew who you were, back in the old solo queue days, you used to play ranked duo queue, or whenever you'd queue up with him, you used to play a lot with BriefcaseMan, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
So I remember the first time, because I knew BriefcaseMan a little bit. He's from the UK,
yep.
And we used to speak, and he knew that I had a team, and he said, "Listen, I play with this guy." Because this would have been 2-3 years ago, so you're about 20 now. You would have been about 17, 18 at the time. And he said, I play with this kid, pause. I play with this kid in ranked, and he's insane. And like I've been like training him like Mike Tyson to believe that he's the best. He said that he's a little bit shy. He doesn't like there's a little bit of arrogance there, but not fully. And I've been teaching him to just be full ego, very arrogant, and just play to be the best. So that was the first time I heard of you. I heard that BriefcaseMan was basically trying to turn you into the next Mike Tyson of Jungle.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes sense actually. I think he taught me a lot, and yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good description of it. Like I think I'm good, but I don't think I'm much better. If that makes sense. But he perma like told me I'm the best. So at some point you start believing.
And that's where the monster was created, because you know, for me and you, it's like a thing where like when we talk, I have to remind you, drop the ego a little bit. So he kind of created a monster in that way. But talk to me about that period of time, because I think you're probably just about challenger, maybe 3 years ago, if I remember the timeline correctly. Are you challenger at that point? You get considerably better at that period of time. So talk to me a little bit about that.
I peaked challenger season 11. I don't remember when I met Briefcase, but it was probably around season 12, season 13. And season 12, I was like low challenger whole season, and I was like, I would come home from school, and I would just snipe my favorite streamers, and yeah, that was about it.
But in terms of your relationship with him, I want to get a bit more of an insight into this because the way he describes it was like a thing of like you had like doubts and he would just be constant. I mean, you kind of alluded it to it there, just like telling you you're better and like trying to teach you macro stuff like that. Talk to me about this kind of mentor relationship you had with him.
I mean, I think we were like perma playing together and just on call, screen sharing both of our games, and we would just be yapping and like trying to figure out how to like play the map because we were both. I mean, like he was considerably better at the map than I was at the time because I think season 11, I just started playing. I was just like a freak Rengar player that just went in and would just perma die on repeat and kill people, and he kind of like got me more into the like calculated risks and like smart gameplay because he was playing I mean, he's a Mundo main for anyone that doesn't know.
Yeah.
But another
Hence
thing
the
he
name.
kind of like with the mental stuff, I'm not too like I don't really remember, but when you say it rings a bell.
It
Like he
makes
for
me think that
sure.
it makes me think because the way he describes it is it's not something that he like told you he was doing. It's more just like so I guess in some ways I've decided in the course of this interview to basically reveal to you that you've been like manipulated into becoming a super weapon by Briefcase Man like 4 years ago and you don't even know it.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean, he's always like, yeah, stuck in a few words here and there in sentences, and I'd be thinking about him when we stopped talking. I was like, okay, maybe I'm better than I am, but and then you get an ego, but I don't know. It's like I try to keep humble if when I can, but
Absolutely,
in
but it definitely we'll get into that in the interview. But it's both a blessing and a curse for you. But in terms of it's so interesting to hear the way you say that. Like there's some like trigger words that he's like dropped in, like he's actually hypnotizing you. Like the idea of him just being
probably,
like him being like tempo, tempo, and then it's like Natty just switches on the camp mode and just full clears like a sleeper
yeah.
cell agent that's been awoken by the CIA. I wanted to ask you because your philosophy is so defined in League, and I feel like your play style is so rigid. And from working for you for multiple splits and speaking to you about the game, you have to really respect someone to even allow any compromise on your view of the game. And I wanted to ask you, how early on did you develop that? Like, when did you decide this was the way to play? When did your ideals and philosophy towards the game really become set in stone?
Do you mean like when I like take advice only from better players, or when I had
Well,
like
like
my
I
own
think
way of playing?
your general approach to the game. I mean, Vega V2 did an analysis of your game, which was helpful for me to understand because I've been able to put it in intangibles, but I don't have the game knowledge. It's like you very much play a style of you play your champs, you avoid the enemy jungler when possible if it's good for the matchup, and you're just very econ based. It's just build up a lead. You're very responsible with leads, get a lead, play the fights responsibly, and just maintain that and never really lose, never really take your foot off the gas. Was it always like that for you, or when did you develop that?
I there's been like key times, and I remember like people like sneaking in words and sentences throughout my league career, so to speak. Where it's like I remember one time I was playing Clash with 4 other players, and they were like we were probably like Grandmaster. I might have been peaking Challenger at the time. It was probably season 11, 12, and they were like worse than me. And I remember I couldn't speak to them on call because it was like 11 p.m. in Sweden, and my mom would like if I was talking, so I wasn't allowed on call. But I remember like while playing, I was typing and I was playing Hecarim. I remember I was typing while clicking Q, and I was like pinging 15 things at the same time, and I was so locked in. That was the first time I had like any like team based stuff. And I remember that guy told me, he's like, whenever I play against you or with you, somehow, no matter what, like you'll be like you could the game is like doomed or the game is not doomed. You'll always be like ahead. And I kind of realized that I'm good with my econ, and that's probably the first time I really thought about it. And I don't remember who it was that said this to me, but someone said, and that's my philosophy now when I coach people and when I talk about league, it's like you should try to maximize what you're good at in league, and then you should try to obviously improve the things you're weak at, but try to like almost make that irrelevant. And I realized I was really good at getting gold and experience and all these things. So that's even when I made the choice to start playing Rengar, because I was looking at all the champs. I'm like, that champion is pretty good with gold and econ, and I was probably influenced by some other people like Night Blue, if I'm being honest. And then I started playing him, and it took a while. I was griefing in the first, but at some point, started working out.
And what's your history with video games? Because so many players I've spoken to, Bwippo says he was a Call of Duty player, and then he played World of Warcraft, and then he played League. What's Natty's history with video games?
I think when I was 7 or 8, on Christmas Eve, I guess, because Sweden we celebrate it. In the morning, I got Minecraft, and I would play that the whole summer that year. And then I honestly I don't remember, but I've tried to like retrack it. I think around season 3, so 12 years ago when I was 8, 9, I downloaded League because one of my neighbors had played it, and he was 2 years older than me, and he was playing it, and I downloaded it, and I guess I started playing it a lot with him. And then, like, honestly, I had like a mobile game that was like League based before that, and played that with him, and it was all just League after that. And
You had like one of
other
those
games,
Chinese mobile games that had like Shrek and Wukong in it. Like,
it was called Heroes of Order and Chaos, and it was just League. And I remember, like, after, like, now that I know of League characters, they were just the
yeah,
exact
exactly.
same.
Like I remember
But that game
I
was
remember
peak.
watching a Donkey video back then. It would just be like a League Chinese copy on
Yeah,
mobile,
yeah,
and it'd be like it would have like Shrek in it and like
yeah, yeah.
Donkey. Like, it should be the most
Donkey
random
was
people.
sick, actually. I watched him a lot. I would
Yeah.
always watch these YouTubers, because, I mean, I don't know if it's normal, but the way my parents set it up was I was allowed to play on my PC for like 2 hours every day. So outside of that, I was just watching YouTube, and I would just watch like every like, I mean, I don't know, remember if Signups doing it back in the day, but like Mo and all these like content creators, I would just like digest League all the time. So all I was doing was just watching League or playing League. And the reason, and I'll explain this because I think it's important. Like, I was not allowed by my parents to ever buy things online. So like buying a game, I was not allowed. The only game I've ever bought back in the day then was Overwatch, because everyone was playing it, and I like begged my parents like, please let me buy this game. Everyone has it. I need to play it. So I played that for a while, but outside of that, I was never allowed to play games. So I just kept playing League, and I was playing with friends for a long, long time. Then my friends they they bought games, started playing other games, and I was just stuck playing League alone. So I started going into rank because I didn't want to play normals alone. So like they left.
Wow. Sad. I feel
Yeah.
like I should let this moment sit for a minute. It's a sad moment.
But I mean, it got like, it got better for me because I got really good at League, and so yeah, W friends. That's nice.
W friends for sure. I know that, for example, a big thing when we worked together towards the end of the beginning of 2024, when you come towards that, you were graduating school. And so we'll go into other things first, but just because it's such a connected to what you're saying, I know a big thing for you at that time was like, oh, I'm playing so much League, but like also you were like, there's like a big graduation thing in Sweden, and you were like really connecting with friends. I remember you even saying like, oh, I'm having like so much fun, like reconnecting with all these people. So is that the point in which you kind of got out of the League thing a little bit and went back to like reconnecting with friends a little bit?
No, for sure, for sure. I think high school for me was a lot of like I mean, this is like before high school. I went to a school that was international English school, and it's very much you study and do good grades. And we didn't like really talk too much. I had like few friends, and I was friendly with everyone because I've always been social.
Mm.
But I just had a few friends, and they played League, so we would just play League together or not, or just talk and play other games. But then in high school, I was like, okay, I can't be this. Like, I've always had this idea that I can't be this complete loser just playing video games all day, every day. So I was like, I'm gonna like kind of create this new persona almost, and I started like being more social with people, and like kind of types of people I wouldn't normally be hanging around with. And I think that was the last year. So there's 3 years in high school in Sweden. It's the last year was what you were saying. That's when I played for you, and I think I had this very much so like, I think the idea that I would like, I need to do something with my life started kicking in, and I was like, "I can't" like, if I don't and also, like, outside pressure from my sister especially, but also my family to some degree, was very much so, like, "You're living one of the best moments of your life, your time. You need to enjoy it and spend time with people." But I was just playing home, playing League, but that's how I enjoyed that, so I kinda, like, had a bit of, like, I was doing 2 things at the same time, and I don't remember really if, like, it probably hurt me somewhat when we were playing. I
Yeah,
probably stunted my growth for sure for some time, and you probably wanna get into it later, but when
yeah.
we did now Ruddy sack, we can talk about it later, but something that Yamato said that was interesting to me that, like, he said after everything,
Mm.
was like, one thing for sure by you is that you need to have, like, your life set. Like, I can't have too many distractions going on
No, no, no.
because then I can't focus.
That's something I figured out. Like, because it felt like during the time, because we had like an argument that we can talk about, but like not deep, obviously. There's a lot of love between us, and I think anyone who like has like a good friendship ends up arguing.
Oh, yeah.
But I very much figured out after the first bit of working with you, I was like, oh, this kid is being like pulled in like 5 different directions, and like I think the assumption was that you were fine because it was like you were still doing so well. But then I kind of realized after a while, you're very single. I don't mean this to insult you. You're very single track minded. You're not like a multitask guy. You're very much like laser focused on one thing at a time to like the point of obsession. And it can be quite difficult. I feel like once you focus to something else, it's very difficult to get you like back on track. Has it kind of
I
always been like that for you, or?
like, in macro sense for sure, but then this, like,
I meant in
I play
life.
League.
Macro
Yeah,
sense
yeah.
is crazy. I mean in
No,
life.
no, but I'm like macro in, like, a larger sense,
Okay.
then it makes sense, but, like, for the micro, like, the tiny things, details, I'm for sure very good at multitasking because
Yeah,
otherwise
for
I wouldn't
sure.
be a good League player. But no, I agree, and I think, like, I mean, we'll get into it, but this Korea trip, there was things happening, and I also realized, like, if I have too many things going on in my head, I can't play and I can't focus. So I need to have very much so like my life needs to be so calm
Hmm.
and nothing happening because if there's shit going on, I can't perform the best for League, but also I can't perform the best for like even like social interactions, whatever you want to say. And I mean, this has been probably the case my whole life. I haven't really thought about it too much from like back in school or even before that, but for sure I like obsessing over things. Like I like the obsession part. Like even when you're studying, like I can't have two things going on at the same time. I would have to always like close everything down and just actually want to learn, and then I'd do it instantly in like a few hours. But
Are you the kind of
there's things
person
going
that
on. I can't.
are you the kind of person where you're really good at the subjects you like and then you don't really care about the other ones? Like you're very specced out on a few different things?
I'm very like I'm blessed in the terms that I had very easy time in school overall. But for sure, the things that I wanted to learn about, I would actually learn about. But I also very early adapted this mindset school specifically, and I think it was because I would always like I studied not a what's it called like in another city, so I had to take
Hmm.
the bus every day for like an hour, and I think that kind of made me realize that like I don't want to bring my studies home with me. So like even in school, like I would be gladly sitting at the front and just sitting and like complete laser focused on the lesson. I was never the guy to be like talking and socializing in school in class because to me it didn't make sense that I would like lose the opportunity to learn the easiest to then go home and have to learn on my own, which would take more time overall because I'm sitting in this class anyways. So talking to my friends might be fun, but it's not more fun than playing League later at home. So I
Yeah,
was like, I don't want to waste time here, which
that
I
makes
think
sense.
helped me a lot. But yeah, for sure, I like some subjects like and those subjects I would always do well in. Like maths was very good. for me early, and I would always like very much focus, and I became like I was a big nerd in school for sure. Then in high school it changed, but before that I was very much so like
Yeah, because you're someone that
lazy.
you're like very good at, like, you don't, I've only known this because I've watched you play like hundreds of games, like even in scrims. And like I've noticed you're very good at like calculating damage on the fly. You don't like to reveal it, but like sometimes after you win a fight or something, you like will just be like, oh, like I was like 50 damage off of killing this person, or like it feels like you've always got like calculations running. Am I diagnosing you as Rain Man here a little bit, or is that true?
I don't know if it's I don't think it's I think it's visually. I can see things very clearly. So
Okay.
um like the a HP bar moving, I can sense and I know how much that is. But I've taken a learning to now recently. I guess this is like shit. Like when you some things you learn over a duration of time and you don't actually think about it and you have said to yourself to start doing it. And this is one of those things. Like I started like looking at my actual damage numbers, so you can match it to the objective or even just a red buff, whatever it is you're trying to secure. And I think this is something people don't do that much. I think it's very important. So like knowing how much a Kiana Q deals is game changing to some aspects for sure.
You'd be really good at gambling. You should like make sure you don't get into that. Um, maybe a bit of a precarious thing to say, like with the whole like
Nah,
visual
don't say that.
visual
No.
indicators. But I wanted to ask you about sort of, because you've mentioned and I've felt the brunt of it, and we've had to like work our way through it when we work together. But you've talked about kind of pressures from your parents and your parents not being super keen on you playing and whatnot. I wonder if you're comfortable. Tell me a little bit about your parents. Like, what do they do? What kind of people are they? How do they feel about you playing League?
Like I feel like I have to. I mean, I have to defend them because it's true what you're saying, but it's also just not true at all.
Okay.
Because my parents are very, very supporting. But the thing is, they just, I mean, as parents do, they just want, what's best for you.
No, of course. That's more
And
so what I mean. Yeah.
no, I get what, but it's like, so for them, they just don't. I mean, they're reminiscing of their own past, right? And they're like, oh, I had
Yeah.
this. My dad doesn't really talk too much. He talks, but it's like he's just there. But my mom was like always reminiscing, I think, for herself. It's like, I loved high school. You need to be in high school and you need to have fun in high school. You need to go out and have fun with your friends. You need to do all these things. And she's still like on me about this to like, you need to keep like the connection with all your friends from high school. Don't like lose the connection. You need to reach out to them all the time, blah, 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 blah. Whereas my dad is a bit different. Like he would just say like, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess like he does
Sounds like he
he
says
does,
not much.
like he doesn't like he's like he's a very very good dad, but he also like just he likes a peaceful life is what I've realized from him. So he doesn't want us to be doing too much because that might mean that he needs to like pick us up and whatnot. So he's very much happy if I'm not doing anything. But I
And
mean
that must
to
be that
say
in
like
some with what you said, that's kind of where you get that from, needing the peace, I suppose.
yeah, true. I guess so. Nice to be peaceful and having your mind at or a peaceful mind for sure. But like for example, after high school, like we had a conversation for a while, and then like my dad was very very supportive. He's like, you have the potential to do something that people uh, I guess dream of almost, and it's like a obscure way of living, and like it's very normal in Sweden to take a gap year of doing nothing after your high school studies. So they were like, okay, just go for it and have fun for a year, and hopefully it'll work out. I think to be fair though, I think deep down, my dad probably didn't, because my dad's keeping up with League to some degree, and my videos and whatnot, my career, I guess. But my mom, I think, still to this day, like deep down, hopes that this would all flop, uh, so I can go back to studying. Like I remember, I came home from Korea. To get to it, but I'll say it quickly. Like I, I came back from Korea, and I'm like talking to them, and obviously I had a very, very, very successful Korea trip. And she was just like, "Oh, so with all this money, you can save up and you can go to school without taking out loans. This is great." And I just like let it sit for a while, and then I just like told my parents, I'm like, that can't be right. Like, there's no way that money is for me to go to school and not take out loans. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. They're very good. They're very nice.
What do you think you'd study if League dies tomorrow and you were forced to? Yeah, God, Jesus. Sorry, didn't mean to give you a
Yeah,
heart attack.
I'm like, I think I'll manage, but
No,
I've put so many, like, when you were saying I'm a focused mindset,
yeah.
like minded person, I have a lot of eggs and I put it in one basket and it's to make this shit work. And like to some point, like there was very defining moment for me, um, during, I think it was this year, right? Where I was like, okay, now I gotta get this shit going because it's about the year ending, and I've done 1 year
Mm.
almost soon, which is what I was allowed to do from my parents. And I was like, now we gotta get this rolling because I don't want to go back to school. Not that I don't, I actually enjoy studying kind of somewhat, but I just
Prefer
don't.
playing League.
I prefer playing League, and I don't know what I would want. Like I would have to sit like in bed and just like look up into the stars and like figure something out because I don't know what I would.
It's crazy because I've seen you play a lot of League, and I assumed you got like a lot of hate watchers, but it sounds like your mum's the biggest hate watcher of all.
I don't think that's the right word, but she is.
She's there watching you
I,
go 0-10 on Kiana, thinking, "He's going back
she's
to school
praying.
soon.
No,
He's
no,
going back to school
no.
soon."
Maybe that's true. I don't know. That yeah.
I wanted to ask you because it's a very looking back at it now with everything you said, I realize I look at the moment differently. I remember it's when we were coming towards the end of the split and you're going towards your graduation. It was this thing where you seemed so excited out of nowhere, and you were talking like you were like, "Oh, I'm the cool guy now." It's like you were, you're going out like doing all your end of year parties. You like somewhat hinted. I couldn't really tell. The only reason I knew was because I have a younger brother who's like a lot younger than you, but I have one brother who's a little bit older than you and one who's a little bit younger than you. And I got the feeling that like you might have a crush on someone. You didn't really want to reveal too much because you were embarrassed. But you were basically talking about graduation, like, oh yeah, like everyone loves me. I'm so cool now. And you said that you were a little bit of a nerd before. So talk to me about that.
I mean, like high school, I mean, everyone, they're not gonna believe me, people watching, but like I was very much so, like I always been social, but I just never realized. I think even I don't remember when it was, but it might have been even conversating you or Briefcase, where I was like, no, 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 I'm introvert because I love being alone. I really like being alone, but I mean, extrovert, and from what I understand, is like you get energy from being around people and you like enjoy it. It's not draining you, I guess you can say. And that's the case for me. Like I don't mind being around people at all. I like talking to people and I like being interested in other people's lives and what they're doing.
Hmm.
So I kind of realized, I think I was talking to you or Briefcase, I don't remember, but I was like, oh shit, I'm an extrovert. Like I actually like doing this. And I remember I had like a group of boys in high school that I would always be with. And we were kind of like we were talking to a lot of different people, but one of them said to me, and I always in my head was like, he's loved by everyone. This guy, everyone likes. And he's like, I don't know why you're liked so much. No, he didn't say like didn't say like that because that makes me sound like I was a weirdo and some other people like me. But he said he was like, I don't understand how like you talk to these people, but then these people also talk to you. And I was like, yeah, I talk to everyone. Like my whole class liked me. Everyone liked me, I think. You don't know, I guess, but like I would talk to all of the cliques, and we had very much so like my class, my high school class was like the most purely like what's it called when it's like it's almost what's the
Stereotypical.
expression? Stereotypical, like the most stereotypical hierarchy. Like there was literally the cool people and the nerds, and it was the most purely viewable thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was just here in the middle, and I was talking to these people, and I was talking to everyone. But then, as you like, I mean, now as you grow and you mature, you realize that it's like back in the day, I was like, I'm talking to these people, and I'm talking to these, and I probably got a little bit of that at some point when I was graduating. But at some point, you realize that's just very, um, to put it like it's just cringe. That's it.
For sure. But it sounds like you let loose, like when came to like the end of the year and you had to go to all your parties and whatnot. Because I remember it was a thing where we were just like, oh, like we're not going to scrim for a bit because Natty's going and doing all of this stuff, and it sounded like you were coming out of your
That's not
shell.
true.
No,
That
it's true.
can't be true. But
No, it
no, I
wasn't that we
did.
weren't scrimming. It was that we were like, oh, I have to go to the sing on thing, and then you're like, oh yeah, sure, like go and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
enjoy yourself, Natty. You've worked so hard, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I for sure. I was going out a lot. I think also, I mean, I might have like an addictive personality or something. I've seen clips, shit of this. They talk about it in a way, but like as soon as I start doing something, I want to do it a lot.
That's worrying to hear. Okay,
Okay, no,
for context, what are we talking about here?
no, but it was just like I like at so I never went out. I didn't do anything for a very long time.
Yeah.
But as soon as I did it once, all of a sudden, all weekends onwards, and or like every day was just now we're doing it all the time. And I think it took me like you get so. I mean, like I get so caught up in what's happening and what's going on that I think it's like it's life or death, everything. So like in my mind, I was like, damn, that makes complete sense. Now we have to do this, and we need to do XX, like we need to do all these things, blah 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 blah. But then you kind of like decompress from it for a while. And I remember like there was a summer break from year 2 to year 3 where I did that, and I was like just reviewing the things that I've been doing, and I was like, this is some insanely childish, like high school stupidity. And I was like, why am I draining my energy thinking about um who this girl is like and who this I was like, that is so I completely cut that off, and I for the last I was like, that's and then I just chill.
Do you have any crazy stories that Natty was getting up to or that you want to share or not really? Because I remember being that age. It's like a year. I feel like those years are a year where just like the most crazy things happen just for no reason. I remember. I'll tell you a story first before you think of one. I remember when I was 17, I went to a party and because it was a really rich kid who went to another school in our city. I say our city, like it's London, but it was a rich kid that went to a school somewhere else.
London.
And we went there, and like the house was like amazing. It's the kind of house you'd see on like one of those like architect shows that you see at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
on like the channel that no one watches. It's like one of those houses. So I go there, and it's all good, and it's all good, and I'm there for like 3 hours, and then suddenly like I see like I'm like so you got the front door, and then there's got like a corridor all the way back to like the kitchen, and then like a glass thing for like the garden. So I can see all the way to the front door from the garden, and I just see that like the police have like kicked down the door. They've like kicked down the door because no one's answering it, and I think they must have thought that it was being like burgled because like the
Oh.
security systems like went off or something because the parents aren't there and there's loads of people there. The kids have had a party. I just see the police like kick down the door, and I remember looking at my friend, and like we were right next to like the wall, like the garden wall, and we just like because we were both like high, like to full transparency, we were high as fuck, so we just like climbed the wall and just like left. And that was what I was getting up to when I was 17. I can't imagine that you were getting up to anything similar to that. But what was what was it Natty like drinking for the first time at his like graduation parties and stuff like that, if that was what was happening?
I've always tried to keep it light to some degree.
Okay.
I don't like I've always tried to not do too much stupid shit. But I have this thing where like I'm at base, I'm like good, and I'll even be like I'll start off the party at being like I'm not drinking anything, I'm not doing nothing. But then like I start like what I say is like I start going into the degeneracy more and more, and I'm like, no, this is okay. This is what people do.
Yeah.
And then it's like it just I
Escalates.
try to delude myself that it's a good thing. But now it sounds like I drank a lot, but I didn't really. Like I always like tried to keep myself
No, of course. For what it's
not
worth, you didn't come out drinking with us when we went to Denmark or anything like that. You just went straight home. So
no, but that was because I was mad as fuck. I took the train home. I
yeah,
I left. I was gone.
we'll get onto
I
that.
thought
We'll get onto that.
anyways.
What do
But
you
yeah, no, I don't like
what do you like as a drunk? Like what I can imagine you being like I mean, for the kind of music you like in your stream and the kind of emotes I see, are you like a dancer? You like to dance?
No, no, I'm terrible to be honest. Like I call it like a good state. Like I don't promote drinking. And I don't think you should too much,
No,
but
of course,
I
but
I've
socially.
done it, and like socially I'll do it, and the the term I would use is like a happy. Like you get to the point where a little bit we call lullit in Swedish, where it's like you're like, uh, you're just happy and you're smiling for no reason. And
Nice.
I enjoy drinking, like being around friends. Like I want to be like at a bar and just talk to my mates and drink some beer.
No,
That's all I want. Like I don't like going clubbing. I never
yeah.
liked that, but I've done it. But it was just like, okay, why are we here when we sit down and just talk to each other? Because again, I like learning about people. My biggest thing is just like I'll be a good listener. Like I'll really want to know what you're doing. Because my life is so boring in my eyes. It's like I'm just playing League. So like when they're like, oh, I went and I did this job, and I'm like, wow, let me, hey, here, talk more about that. What are you doing? But yeah,
Yamato told me a story recently. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, and I suppose we'll talk about it because I'm having him on soon as well. But he told me that when he was in Korea recently, he met up with Humzh and Humz's friend. And Humz's friend was just like a random guy. I think he's also friends with Sanch. He like maybe is a TikTok kind of guy, but like he's not really that well known. And he basically revealed that like his mum used to be the manager for the Wu-Tang Clan, like the rappers. And like he was telling me that story, and I was just like, "What the fuck?" Like so many people do so many interesting things. Because I think you're right. It is like as league players, it's like even for me, and what I've interviewed Faker and stuff like that. I'm going to meet people. It's like I can't tell them like I interviewed Faker, and like they're gonna like be like, "What? Like you did that?" They're gonna like be
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, like I was like living with a tribe in Kenya for 2 weeks,
yeah.
sacrificing chickens." And you're just like, "Oh, that's like, yeah, that's kind of cool." Like in comparison, you know. So I do relate to what you're saying.
That was one of my teachers. They did some shit like that, and I thought he was awesome, cool. Like he went to like some tribe and started like doing probably like getting high, I guess, but he didn't say it like that, and he was like,
Yeah, like
"This was
ayahuasca
such a
type stuff.
cultural experience,"
We need to
and he
do.
was very
I
like,
want to see
yeah,
that IRL stream. The boys, you, Spearshot, and all those guys. You go to a tribe somewhere. That's some good. That's some good. That's some good content right there. But moving on, we've talked about kind of adolescence. We talked about school for you. The first time I come into contact with you is around late 2023. We're talking about because you played in the Winter Cup for Ruddy, and that's when Briefcase. We won't really talk about that. Whatever. Then Briefcase has introduced me to you, and he said that, oh, I think Natty would be really good for your team. Come and have him on your team. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then you played, and you weren't that amazing to begin with, but you could tell that you would be good. Like it was like there was potential there. And then in 2024 is when, to give people a bit of lore, I got approached by a guy called Mephisto, who basically was working on AI data not AI. I always say AI. I always end up saying AI. There's nothing AI to do with it. It's data analytics that is basically used to like potentially build like a Moneyball system is what the application would be. So the idea is that you have a database of players that are MMR weighted against the best players on the server, and then you like they're given a score of 100 in like 50 different categories. So it'd be like gold accumulation 0 to 15, damage taken in lane, camps taken. So it builds up like very much like a PvP profile and like an econ profile. And when I was like looking for a jungler and a mid, you were like number 8 on the list. That's like including all LEC players in terms of what your score was. I think it was like 77 out of 100 or something like that, where like Razork is like 100, and then like you were like 77. And this is when you were like relatively unknown, and it was nice, and I felt like a genius because I was like, oh, I already have him in my team, so I'm a genius. Clearly, I can see something that the system sees already. But it was interesting because even back then, it was basically like to give people transparency on like what your profile was like. It was like you were very average on like everything that was to do with fighting, but then like your econ was like the best on the server. Like you had like the second best econ stats like behind like Inspired or someone like that, which makes sense. And then like that's what was like bringing your average up. And then it's just like looking at you, it's like, oh, if he works out the other thing, he's going to be the best player on the server. Like, um, but no, it was interesting, and that's how you got brought into Ruddy. And for a bit of an additional lore, I don't know if I've ever told you this. You might have done. I feel like it wouldn't have been good for me to tell you this because it would have done horrible things to your ego, and I knew you were an egotistical little bastard even back then. I remember. Do you remember before we got Wolverine? Before Will was the coach, we were gonna get. I don't know if I should reveal. I don't know if he'd want me to reveal who it is, but basically there was going to be a Korean coach who like had played in LCK challenges before.
Did we
Yeah,
talk to him at some point? I think I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like I
We
remember
talked to him.
this.
He watched a
Yeah,
scrim
yeah,
block of ours, and do you know what
yeah,
he
yeah.
said after he watched our first scrim block?
I feel like you told me at some point. He
I
said
probably
he
told you after the
glazed me,
split.
no?
He basically said he glazed you. I don't think I told you fully what he said. He basically said, "Yeah, everyone else is okay, but Natty is really good. Natty can play in Korea." Like he said,
Hey.
he said Natty plays like a Korean. Like
Mhm.
that was that
Mhm.
was basically what he said. So I don't think I told you directly that because if I
No,
did,
you
then
did not.
it would have destroyed you.
It
Like
would. No, not really. Okay, maybe. I don't
no,
know.
yeah, definitely. But we go into the split and talk to me about it because it starts off like a nightmare. Scrims are going okay, but I don't know if you remember we have at that time the team is Bill, you, Alix, who I'm sure we'll talk about during this, Silky
Yeah.
Smath, legend, and initially we've got GM Edvard, who
Sorry, I should have laughed, but it was so laughable on
the
this shit.
less
I mean,
said
we
about
shouldn't
GM
say. We
Edvard,
shouldn't say.
no, I don't
Yeah, we
care.
won't.
I don't
We won't.
care. GM Edvard pissed me off. GM Edvard was quite possibly the worst player I've ever seen, and we had him on
Oh,
support. You
I
don't
don't
have
remember
to.
what he would kept saying, but he was like, it was always this like, yeah. It was some like, oh, it triggered everyone. But anyways, let's not.
But we go in the first 10 games, we go 3-7, and we're losing games. Weirdly enough, though, the first game we play, we beat a team that we shouldn't beat immediately. I think we beat Verdant, and Verdant's like considered one of the top teams. We beat them in the first game, and then in the second game, we almost beat Lions Creed, the team that has two Koreans. Like you and Alex were doing some crazy shit, and then just like they just ended up being out macroing us. But then we go basically 1-7 from that point onwards. We're 3-7, and it's a bit of a nightmare. Do you remember that time and what it was like playing in the team when we were just sucking complete ass?
But I feel like I've told you this before because we talked about it, or even like during the time we were doing it. I was always so calm. I was like I kept asking you. I don't know if you remember this, but the only thing I would ask you is like, can we still go playoffs? And you say yeah, and I'm like, okay, then we're chilling. And
Y-
I was just complete chilling because I don't know, like for me, like I don't know, I just didn't. I was like, yeah, we get to figure it out.
I think that's when I figured out, and I'm going to be mean to you later, so all of the glazing now, just hold on to your
That's
seatbelt.
good.
This is when I figured out that you were a bit of a mentality monster, because for those that don't know the story of Ruddy 2024 Spring, it's probably one of the more impressive miracle runs ever in ERL history, to be honest with you. Like, no, not to even, I mean, we're biased because it was our team. But we had, at the point of being 3-7, a less than 1% chance to make it to the playoffs. We ended up winning we won the next 4 games to tie it up 7-7. And then on the day, even though we were 7-7, it required two other teams to either win or lose. So there was two additional variables. And I don't know if you remember when we went 7-7 and it was like there was a team, I think Natives had to lose or win, and we were all watching it in call like, "Oh my," like that was like the most important moment that entire split, where it was like we'd managed to make our way to 7-7 and we had to watch this team and their result decided whether we go to playoffs. Do you remember that?
Yep, that was a good moment.
From one, but this was the thing, 1% odds. And when I asked you, like after it, because we'd made it to EMEA, even after playoffs, you were basically just like, yeah, no, I never thought that us not making it was an option. Like I never even
Yeah,
thought
I
about
mean,
it. Like that's the way you described it. You're like, I never even thought that we wouldn't make it. And I was like, how is that possible? We had 1% chance to make it, and you never even considered it. You just played every game. And I was just like, okay, this kid's a fucking mentality monster. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is not normal. Like,
yeah, I don't know what I was thinking to be honest, but it was probably like when I don't. This is also like, I mean, maybe we'll get to it, but like there was someone that asked me, um, because he was wondering about me and like wanting to have me play for him, and he asked me, he was like, so what happened, like EU Masters, that's right, and like what happened this, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember anything. Like I even said, I was like, I don't know. I I just don't remember the program games at all. I just forget almost all of them. I remember certain moments, um, but in general, I forget them all, which is I mean, it's not the best, but I guess I hopefully I don't like forget the lessons that I learned. But I think during that time, the reason I just didn't think about it too much because I was probably just trying to get better myself.
I think you were also going through a lot emotionally because it was like, I mean, remember that was like a lot of the tension between us. It was like you felt like you were full in on the league stuff at the time, and that was causing you stress with school, and it was
Oh
causing
yeah,
you stress with parents as well. So I think it was just because there was a lot going on, right?
yeah, probably. I think also it kind of hit me that year that my grades for the first time started slipping because I was like before I would play league, but I would always do stuff, and now I had like obligations, and then like it was just it became way too many different things at the same time, and yeah, probably mentally I got a bit cooked to some degree, I guess. Um, but I mean, I always thought we would make it, and we made it, and we did pretty good.
Talk to me about your relationship with. Just give me an idea of Alix for those that don't know who Alix is. Like, describe Alix to me and tell us about him.
I mean, I don't like he was just like to be honest on the team, like I was glazing built already because again, as you said before, like I only like people that I think are really good. Like that
No, I
sounds very
remember. I
bad.
remember it was a nightmare trying to build a team because you were like the first piece that I locked because we'd already worked together and I thought you were really good. And then when I heard the Korean guy say you were really good, I was like, okay, cool. And then when I saw the system, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We've got a talent on hand. But I remember it being a nightmare trying to build a team with you because it would just be like, I'd be like, oh, this player that I think is really good. And he'd just be like, yeah, I watched him play Silas in a game 3 months ago. He's shit. We're not playing with him. Like, you just
But
like,
that wasn't that Alex? I think
no,
that was
yeah, you
Alex.
thought Alix was shit, but then there was also like, I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't be offended. It's so long ago. You thought Rural Kineen wasn't that good at the time. I remember that was a thing. I think you changed your
Oh,
opinion
oh,
afterwards, but
oh
at the
yeah.
time you
No,
didn't.
that was because I remember the game. So I was playing. I don't
You
know.
see, that's not
He
normal. The fact that you don't remember
no.
pro games, but you remember a game that Royal Kineen entered you like 3 years ago.
There's a player I remember, and I remember it so vividly. It's unbelievable. And over the years, I've been like, no, he's good, Natty. And then I think it was 2 days ago or yesterday, he griefed me in my game, and I swear I'm like, yeah, no, you shit. But anywho, that's fine. Now he just forgot what my champ did. Like he didn't know I had a passive on Rengar that I could jump from bushes, so he just griefed like a
In any
trigger. But
case,
anyways, he's very good. He's
but you were saying about Built, you already had a lot of respect for Built because obviously you'd seen him in solo queue, you'd been rank one.
yep.
Alix, you had a little bit of not respect for because I think the story was you played Silas into his Yasuo maybe, and you beat him on mid
I
lane.
I cooked him in 1v1 in mid lane. I was like, this kid sucks, bro. And then after that, I just thought he was shit. But I remember the first few, because I think when we try out at him and we played, I remember he's like, okay, this guy actually has good mechanics, and he sees like fighting vision. There was one playing specifically where both of us like swapped target mid fight, and we went on the same guy, and we just jumped on him, and I was like, this kid's got it, and he's good. But outside of that, I always thought like, uh, yeah, I mean, that he's very. And also, I mean, you remember the bird incident?
Tell us
Like
the bird
we're
story. Tell us the bird story about Alix.
we're playing scrims, and like it's like 8 minutes into the game, everyone's just playing, and then we just hear Alex going like, stop, and we're like, what's going on? I don't know if we paused it or not. We did something, and he's like, birds. What did he say? Bird strike,
He
bird
said,
attack,
he said, my bird attacked me.
and
And
we were like, you have a bird? When did this come around? And he's like, yeah, I have a bird.
yeah, he basically like and we'd been playing for maybe 2, 3 months at this point, and he basically just was like, "Oh, my bird attacked me," and we were like, "You have a bird? Like, since when?" And he basically he just took a photo of the bird and was like, "Yeah, I have a bird in my room, and if it gets out of its cage, it attacks me during scrims." But we just never knew that it did that.
I remember you were in the like in the Discord call, but obviously you're not talking because we're
Yeah,
playing,
yeah, yeah.
and you just like unmuted and started laughing, and he your
Well, it's
your
just
your
like
famous
unreal.
laugh.
It was
Yeah,
just
it was too
unreal.
good.
There's so
Too
many
good.
stories like that. There's a story. I think this might have been the split after you left, but in summer that year, Alix basically revealed that he was going to be late to scrims, and we asked him why, and he just wrote, "My dad crashed the car," and sent a picture of like the beaten up car after a crash.
Nah, he's great. He's a character.
And then because the car crashed, I asked him because I paid him his salary that month, and I said, "Oh, Alix, like just out of interest, like what are you going to do with the money this month? It's not a lot of money. I think he was paying him like 400 a month or something. But in Turkey, that's you fucking millionaire." So I paid him his money that month, and he goes, He goes, "Oh, I'm not using the money this month. My dad's using it to repair the car that he crashed." It's just
Game's
so,
a game.
so fucking funny. He's such a good kid. Like, and I think he was like the little brother of the team at that time, right?
Yeah. No, it was great. It was great, and we had a good squad. There was a lot of good characters.
Do you
I
remember
enjoyed
any?
it a lot.
Do you remember any other Alex stories?
Maybe I should. There was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't say that. But I remember. No, I can't say that. Never mind. I can't
Is
say
it is
that.
it one that I know as well, or?
No, I don't know. But I just remember. No, never mind. I can't say.
Okay, I'm trying to think if I
I can't.
remember any. There's a few other good ones. He's just like, well, I mean, I remember the famous play he did. Do you remember in playoffs where against I forget who the mid laner was. It's the one on Nord. Someone in chat will know who I'm talking about. It's a Polish mid laner played for Nord, and Alex did the like the Oriana like sombrero
Oh yeah,
combo
yeah,
where you like E
yeah.
yourself and you flash on them. I remember when he did that, I was going crazy. That shit was crazy.
I think he didn't need to do that though. But he looked cool.
This is the
He
thing
looked cool.
about you. This is insane. He did the coolest play ever, and I remember you said this at the time. You're like, yeah, you don't need to do that though.
I thought it was unnecessary to flash, but it looked really cool. It looked cool. I agree.
Yeah, fair enough. But in any case, yeah, we make playoffs with the 1% odds. Part of that is because we changed support. God, do you remember GM Edvard? I remember the GM Edvard story I always remember is he would always be like inting the fuck out of the game, but he hated Alex. Do you remember how much he hated Alex?
Yeah, it
Like
would be like, yeah, but then you did this, and yeah,
and he showed us this timestamp in a game where he'd died like 3 times on Nautilus in the first 10 minutes, and he showed us that when he came to gank mid, he like opened up the VOD in Discord, and he showed us that like Alex like was on Aurelia, and Alex like did like he cast his W and then he like did it in like a 360 like he was playing Call of Duty. And then he was like, "Oh, Alex, you didn't have your W for this gank, and that's why we didn't kill them." And it was just so obvious that Alex just CBA'd so much that he was just like literally doing trick shots with his Aurelia W. And Alex was so tilted, it was so good. But no,
yeah,
after we went 3-7 is when we got rid of him. I remember in the last game he played, it was like he literally like was trying to lose the game on purpose. It was crazy. Like I remember like watching the game and just being like we were winning and he was like hooking in no one and like just dying on cooldown. I think he died like 5 times in the first like 15 minutes. And then like the fight that we won the game on, he ended up like hooking someone and we won the fight. And I came into the call afterwards. It's the only time I've ever done this. I remember just being like, even though we'd won the game, like obviously still we hadn't qualified, but this was like do or die. Like we had to win every game. And I remember being like, Edward, what the fuck happened this game? Like what happened? He's like, I made the game winning play though. He literally said that. He's like, I made the game-winning play, and I was just like, this guy has to go. He has to go. And then we got Jess Cannon because he was friends with Alex, and
yeah.
that was good. He was good. And
That
then
was great.
I think around that time, maybe a few games before, we got Wolverine, and Wolverine. Like I don't know if you remember, like when I interviewed Will for the job. To get Will to do the interview, he was like, I can interview for the job. I really want to do it, but I'm homeless at the moment. Can you interview me in 2 days when I've got a home? And then Wolverine came into the team. Do you remember what it was like working with Wolverine for the first couple months?
Um, I don't really. No, this I don't remember really. I mean, it was for sure we got better from it. I again, like I just don't.
Hmm.
I don't remember.
It was funny
Like
because you
this.
sent me clips from playoffs the other day, and you were like, you were talking about it, you don't remember it. Do you remember
No,
the
but that
Gragas game?
one. No, that one I can't believe I did this. So I was looking through my Twitter like in bookmarks. I have none. So this is the only one I had, and it's just me playing Gragas, and I'm literally bombing a guy. And I used like in my head, I'm like, how did I even get Gragas picked? Like, why am I playing Gragas jungle in an NLC game? And I don't know what we were smoking and cooking, but I mean, it worked out, and I killed him.
Absolutely. And it's like we make
Gangster.
playoffs with 1% odds, and then we 3-0 the first team, we 3-0 the second team, and we unfortunately had like a 4-game loss in the finals. We win the first game, and then we lose the next 3. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, the team that we played in finals basically just ended up being like a scam org. Do you know the
Yeah.
story of this? They ended up like just
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
They had a Korean mid laner who they were paying 4 grand a month, which was like 10 times what our entire budget was, and that guy ended up not getting paid. So they basically just like. What I'm saying
Bullshit.
is that we actually won that. Like the trophy is ours.
Sure.
Like it's one
Sure.
of those things, like in football where like Man City gets like 115 charges for like breaking the rules. They need to
Mm.
take that trophy away from them and give it to us because that was fucked up.
I always remember I hated that jungler. I still remember. I think I remember who it was because he was Korean too, and I was like, this guy
Johan.
sucked.
Oh, you thought
Was it?
Johan sucked? Yeah, I think it was Johan, right? Yeah, Johan.
Okay, I take it back then. No, actually, no. Now that I see how it was spelled, man, I don't.
You know who he's playing now? He's playing in Japan.
Yeah, there you go. It goes NLC into Japan. That's all I'm saying.
Come on, man. That's not... But in any case, we go to EMEA, and as you're saying, you don't remember it, but it was like we sucked absolute cock at
Yeah,
EMEA.
yeah, I
I think we
remember
went.
we griefed.
No, it was like a thing where like to give you flame now because I've been nice. You griefed the
Yeah,
fuck out of EMEA. I remember.
probably.
It was like a thing where like you would like there was like 3 games in a row we had a lead and you were like there was a game where you were up 100 CS or something in jungle and you died like twice doing an invade and we just lost. And it felt like there was like 3 games where you would get massive leads and just die and lose the entire game. And at that point I was like, what the fuck is going on with Natty? Because it was like in the scrims leading up to EMEA as well, your head was gone as well. I think it was like because you had like school going on and stuff like this. Your head was gone and it wasn't the same Natty. And we didn't do that well at EMEA.
I don't remember. Yeah, that was probably trauma, and I just I shut that out. I literally don't remember. I don't even remember like a specific play. If I rewatch it, I'll be like, maybe I remember, but I don't.
You
I have
blocked it
no clue
out. You
what.
blocked it out from the trauma. And then we stopped working together because it's like the presumed thing was that you were going to play in summer as well. But then I
Yeah.
remember I was trying to get you to play summer and like you weren't responding. And then we had like a bit of an argument where you were a little bit rude to me, but it was all good. I didn't get upset about it. I spoke to Briefcase about it and he was like, "Oh, he's just being a kid." But it's like a thing about like, oh, like I can't do this and whatnot, and like at school and whatnot. And I was just like, it felt like to me that it was like you felt like you were being forced into giving League your all, and it was like, well, no one asked you to do that. You can give it your 50%. But it was like you were struggling in school and you didn't really know how to handle that. It was like almost like what I felt like at the time was you had so many processes going on that you'd come to a boiling point and you were just like kind of freaking out because of that. Like the CPU had been overcooked, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, there was something like that. Again, I don't really remember what it was, but I remember there was one time I was walking home from school or from gym, I don't remember, and I was just messaging you, and I was like, "This, oh boy." And to be honest, like rewatching it, it would be easy for like I know I did wrong, but the way like I don't know if this is like a normal way of being able to like progress or like function, but for me it's I can't like I have to like create these narratives in my head that I hate this person and this person has done me so wrong. Because if that's not the case, then I just seem like a dumbass. So I can't like leave. So I probably like built you up to this absurd monster where I was like, no, this guy is ruining my life. I need to cut him out. And then I probably message you. And as I'm writing it, I'm like, okay, now I'm just being a dickhead. And then I'll include like, I'm sorry though. But anyway. And
No,
just
I
move
remember you
on.
messaged me and it was basically something along the lines of like, "You're one of the most evil people I've ever met in my life." No,
I mean,
not quite that. But it's
yes,
basically
but
I was just confused because it was like we had such an amazing journey together, and then I was just like I was upset at the time because it was like I was like, oh, it's like my
yeah, yeah.
my little bro. Like I built this guy up in the team. Like we found him from nothing and we got him all the way to EMEA. But then I was just like after a while I was just like, yeah, well he's clearly going through a lot. We'll work this out eventually. And we ended up talking it out down the line. And
That
you
was
went up. So what were you gonna say?
that was good that you said. Yeah, I remember this, but I don't remember what I said. But I remember. But looking back, it was a bit stupid.
Yeah, well, I mean, I realized that this is the first time I realized like how stupid you could be. So it was good in a way. But it's interesting because from that point onwards, even before going to, because the next big thing that happens is that you come back to Ruddy Sack. But even between that, there was a thing where, despite that happening, there was quite a few offers on the table for you like to go pro, but like it never ended up being like fully the thing. And like a big thing at the moment is like, why does Natty not want to play pro? Why did Natty not go pro? It was like you played on Ruddy and we came second in the split and we made it to EMEA, and you were like by all accounts really good as a rookie. And I remember like, I mean, we could just leak it. Who the fuck cares? I don't care if they get pissed off. You were the second option at GX Academy. Do you remember that?
Yep. I remember that's when I got reality check on how esports works, and I fuck it, I don't care. But like I remember I was getting excited. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but I that was the first of my hits. I think this is like this is if you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Hmm.
because again I'm bad at like remembering when it's
Yeah.
happening. But I think this is like start of 2025 or like end of 2024, right? It should be for the next
It's middle.
year.
It's the end of 2024.
Yeah,
So they're
and
looking at
I
you for the Winter
remember.
Cup and potentially
Yep.
2025.
Exactly. And I remember I was like, okay, this is hype. I mean, GX is like established and like if I could play here, that would be amazing. And even then I was still like I don't want to go to some I kind of like I had my own standards of what I would play for, and I was like this would make sense. This would be a cool experience. Nevertheless, like the worst case scenario, it's a cool experience. And then I used to remember I don't even know who got it. I think this was the org at least
Time.
that did
Time
this.
got it.
Who's that?
There's a guy called
Time?
Time.
Yep. No, I remember now. So I'm like in the sofa watching a show with my parents, and I'm like scrolling Twitter, and I'm like, hold up, and then I go up and I see the fucking sheep esports like article that he got it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, where's the at least like the decency to say you're not it? And I was like, okay, that's how people do business, I guess. And ever since I'm like I've always been like, I think that's the time when I went to, in my head, the way I operate now online in general, but specifically as well, like for league and business side. It's like, I'll just tell you straight up, this is what's like, just tell me exactly what's happening. I'll tell you exactly what's happening. And that's it. Like complete communication. I hate this, small talk into, not small talk, that sounds bad, but like this
Talk for the sake of
talk for the
performance.
sake of talking and then like hinting at stuff. That's the way of phrasing it. Like trying to hint at stuff. I'm like, that's just pointless. Just tell me it now. Do you think I'm good enough or do you think I'm bad? Then go for that. That's fine. I don't care. Like there has to be some like take emotions out and just go straight to the point.
But you were
Um,
obviously, I mean, like for you at that time, because it was like an option for you to either stream or play pro, was that the thing that kind of like, what did it do towards your motivation for playing pro? I guess the headline that other people are looking at is like, oh, there was a chance that maybe Natty would have played pro, and this was the point at which it was like, it kind of not killed it, but it damaged it a lot.
it for sure damaged it. But even like you said when we were playing, and I think this is something maybe you hadn't thought about it now, but another one that was a big one when I was playing for you the first time was that I would just see my stream getting hurt because we would scrim, and then it's like I don't have the energy to stream, and it would just like it
Yeah.
would just go like slowly down, down, down. So then it became at some point the
And it's also
boiling
like you've
point
got
that
to
we were
play
talking
other
about.
champions other than Rengar, and it's like,
Exactly.
yeah,
And then it would like at some point it was like my school is going worse. The pro play is going I don't know. I mean, I guess it wasn't going worse at the point, but kind of.
yeah.
And then it's like my stream is going bad as well. So it's like three things that is not doing good and it's just going down and it's like I explode. Too many things going on. But I wouldn't say that it hurt my ambition to play pro and all this. Like I still I'm a very competitive person. I like competing and like the memories and the way of operating when I was playing for you is like the team environment, all this. Like I love that. I think it's so fun. Um, but for sure, I kind of realized the way I phrased it. This is especially after Ruddy sack was like streaming. I can do on my own, and I can do everything on my own. Whereas for pro play, it's obviously like if I if I go into like it's on my own as well, obviously. Like I have to do well, but there's also a lot of different variables that are out of my control that just that there's nothing to do, and it's like the best player is always the player that's winning. Like if you're losing, you can't be the best player. It's not possible. And the really good, and this is something I've thought about, it's like the really good scouts, which are very few, can see a bad team having a good player. But something I've realized is like if you look back into like and just to like this is to get into my head of like my philosophy and how I see it. It's kind of like when you look back at like football at the start and early days, it's like who are you to be a scout and say that this guy has talent and this guy doesn't have talent when you don't even know the game. And the game is so new, League of Legends, that you don't actually know, and most scouts don't know what they're looking. And it's hard to know what they're looking. Even like the best players and the best coaches, like it's hard to even know what good is in League. So it's hard to judge and create a player profile on someone, like in general. And I mean, yeah, that's about it. Because like I'll be talking to people from time to time, and it's like they'll say things about me, and I'm like nodding to be. I mean, there's no point in arguing, but it's like it's just not true.
What do you think are the biggest misconceptions about you then, if that's what you're saying?
I mean, the biggest one is for sure that I'm just like because back in the day, people would just say I'm a one trick, but it's just not true. Like League is so especially jungle. I don't agree with this take from mine that I will say now. This might be a hot take, but like in terms of jungle, there is nothing difficult about playing jungler. Like you can get to the highest level of almost every single jungler. There's like very few exceptions. Like for example, Rengar is an exception, and then like Nidalee and other champs. But most junglers are so straightforward, number based, and there is nothing like there's nothing a good player don't know about that champion playing in 10 games. There's no like I don't. It's harder to be like you can't tell me that I don't know how to play Xin Zhao because you played 3 times and then you know almost everything. And then there's like the idea how I don't know if you can say, but like how autistic and like insanely nerdy are you about League to know like all these insane what was it called? Like when two champs are playing against each other and what happens and like well
Matchups,
what happens if Gragas is
interactions.
yeah, interactions, there it is. Like all these niche interactions. That's the only thing that's difficult. But like there is no laning in jungle. So there's no this like, oh, when he goes for this minion, I need to do this because I'm playing this matchup. There's none of that in jungle. There's like, oh, this matchup, you can do these things. But most of the time, the things you're doing is based on the champs you have on your team that you're playing for. So jungle is very, very easy to learn in terms of champion mastery if you're like, already a good player and you know everything. And like playing Rengar for thousands of games and all the other champs, because also that's the thing, like when I was at my highest one trick pony like status, I had 50% of my games on Rengar. That is not a one trick. Like that is very much so not a one trick. Most of the like I played so many different champs. I played different roles even. But it's just that you get branded as something and then you just branded as it for a very long time.
I think what makes it confusing, because to give my perspective on this, I think that I never thought you were a one trick when you played, because it was like I would watch you play Lee Sin and Scrims, or like Olaf. There was a time where you played that a lot, even Gragas, like we talked about that, and there was other champions you play, and you'd be proficient enough on them when we'd play against like good teams, like we'd play like LFL teams or like Spanish teams, German teams, and you would do well against like some big names. But I think it's the gap between like on Rengar and on like Mundo now, for example. Obviously, you weren't playing as
Oh,
much
for
Mundo.
sure there's a difference. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like a major difference, I would say.
Yeah.
In that like I think most champs you can play to like a proficient level to where you can compete against most people, but it's like on those champs you're like elite category. So I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
like
yeah.
I guess it's that golf that makes people look at you and go, oh yeah, he's good, but like imagine if all of his champions were elite category, or like he had
But
like
it's just
five or
like
six champions that were elite category.
I mean I can't I see what you're saying, but it's less of the idea that I'm bad at other things and I'm just so much better at these two things than I am at anything. And not I like I've genuinely I try to like, put myself back and humble myself, but I've always had this the idea of myself that I'll play anything. Like I don't like I always had this playing league my whole my whole league career. I've always just picked things that I think are good. And like I'll play something on stream even today, and they'll be like, "Why you're trolling?" And then I'll just do it well, and I'm like, "Bro, I'm playing the game. I played League for God how knows like 12 years now. I've seen every champion played at every stage of the game for how many times in a row, bro. I can play most champs and I can play even most roles now. It's just like people will always have this. This is the only thing I'm like kind of triggered about, but it's just so to me it's just so ridiculous. But at the same time, I also like take myself back. Like obviously there's gaps of knowledge. Like for example, when you said Gragas, like I should not have been allowed to play Gragas. My Gragas stinks, bro. I can't play that champion. But
You did horrible things to that kid. That kid plays in, I think he was on Zero Tenacity, the guy you jungled against in that series.
yeah, yeah,
Zubac, I think he probably has nightmares because you absolutely brutalized him over the course of that series. It was not pretty.
it was bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
It
What?
it
Sorry, go on.
sorry. Can I? This is actually because I was thinking about Gragas and like the problem with Gragas is that there's so much potential. So if you're not living up to the potential, you're seen as bad. Like if you can't flash do some crazy combo, you haven't played it properly. And I think that's the thing. Like I don't know how other junglers think. I guess I don't know. Those I haven't talked to a lot of junglers that are like I'm thinking now like LEC and yeah, I guess LCK and like pro players. But there's always like this. Like I'll watch the Dome and I'll watch Cadro, and it's like no one can pick Kiana. No one knows how to play this champion. There's only Tarzan that knows how to play this champion, and like maybe one other jungler in the whole world. And I think a lot of that has to do with like being able to like have the confidence and no nerves on stage to be like, I'll just fucking send this flash E ult. No questions asked. And a lot of people won't do that because they're like, what if I miss it? And if they do miss it, they look stupid. But in League, it's like you have to just kind of like a lot of times you have to send it. You gotta just send it.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a triggering question. If Mundo and Rengar are not on the table for you, you can't play them. What's the highest rank you think you can achieve, both in Europe and Korea?
This is this is this is a good question. This is a good question because I've like thought about this and I've like uh, been like thinking if I should try to do both for stream, but also there was even before Korea, I had an account that was like no Rengar, no Mundo, and I was like I'm gonna try to get as high as possible. Um, but then I went to Korea, so it ended. But like I've always thought about doing all these things. The thing is, I don't think rank one would be hard, but it's also like when you look at like you look at like people that got in rank one, there's some like most of the time what they do is they will have like three champions that they will just play every game no matter what. And that's just the best three champions in the meta. So like there's very few people in League in general, especially people at the highest rank, and I'm talking solo queue obviously. They don't do all these random niche stupid shit, and they don't play like there's this idea that like, oh, you can play like they'll play this champion one game, this champion next game, but people don't do that. When they're going rank one, like they will play one champion or two, like if they're banned or not being able to pick it that game. Like that's what they do. Like looking at the best example of this is now when I was going in Korea, because to be honest, in EU I haven't even looked at the leaderboard. I don't really care too much. But when I was going rank one in Korea, that sounded egoistical, but I'll explain it. But when I was going for rank one in Korea, because that was my goal, so I was like looking at all the people playing. It's like I think it's DK Sharvel. He's a jungle player, and he would just play Kiana every game. Only Kiana. If Kiana is banned, Silas, or like he play Lee Sin. Like he goes Kiana every game, no matter what. You look at the if any KC fans, the was a Yahoo guy, um, insane player, mid laner, very very good player. I think I saw him on Aurora almost every single game. I saw him on Galio a few times and Oriana. But like people have this idea that people are playing ba 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 ba. And like even like looking at EU people when I was playing, so I got rank one before I went to Korea in EU, and I was fighting, I guess, competing against 113, the Turkish jungler that played for BDS before. But basically, he would only play Viego. Every game he would pick Viego. Like when you're going for these elite tier ranks in solo queue, most of the time you're playing 1 to maybe 5 champions, and a lot of times the people that are playing more champions are laners. Whereas if you're not a laner or a jungler, you're probably picking almost 1 champion every single game. And that's just because it's the easiest way to climb. And also you're playing probably a good ass champion when you're doing that. But to answer your question, I don't think like I mean I would have to try, but I don't know if I would ever try to do it. It would have to be, and the reason I say that is because there's no like people want to watch me play Rengar, and I've always had this idea, so I don't really have the ambition to play other champions to that level.
You know
And
where
sometimes I
I
do
think
it
you'd
for
get?
fun. Yeah, go for it.
I think without your Rengar, back to platinum where you belong.
Oh, okay. That's a crazy one. That's a crazy one. No, that's funny.
I feel like
That is
I understand what you're saying, but you are dodging the question a little bit. Like, what champions would you play if it wasn't Mundo and Rengar? You have to pick those 3. Would it just be you played meta,
Oh,
or
to be fair, now I would get rank 1 as well because I'd pick Silas Kiana. Those are the 2 most broken champs, and
you,
I play them really well.
you
Like
think you'd get
I'll
rank? You
get
think you'd
rank
get
1.
rank? You
Yeah,
think you'd get
100%.
rank 1 on this on career as well?
I did it in Korea. That's basically what I played. Like that is basically what I did. Like in the start, I was only playing Rengar because they was never banned. But then when people started banning it, I was like, okay, now I'm cooked because I was playing Mundo. They do not. I realized this about Korea. They do not respect champions being played in places they've never seen unless some LCK player does it. So I don't think they would have ever been able to understand what Mundo does if owner never picked it. And if I guess Skuma never picked it. They would just never ever.
Here's a question for you. Do you feel like Skewmon takes a little bit of the credit where you deserve maybe a bit more of it for popularizing Mundo?
I don't really, but like because even to
You
me,
don't
people will
mind,
give
but
it.
do you think that?
Oh, I made the champ. Like there's no question. Like there's no questions about it. I created Mundo Jungle, and it's not even deniable. Like that is just a fact. And even for me, like I don't want to say that because I'll always think back of. First of all, there's like I remember Ellis. I think he like popularized Mundo Jungle before the rework and all these things. So like
Yeah.
I don't like taking credit. Like in general, I don't like taking credit for things. In my mind, I'm always like, well, actually, there's some statistics on someone doing it back in the day, long time ago. But like, where do you think Skewman got Mundo from? And if you don't say me, you're delusional.
No,
Because I was popularizing him every single day.
I remember Skewmon looking in LEC and it was very clear. Like everyone was saying, "Oh, this is like Natty."
Even this casters were saying that that's from NattyNatt back in the day. And then like I did, like this is someone I respect very highly. Razork I always respect massively, but even before he did this, I respected him a lot, and I always thought he was like top 2 junglers LEC. I don't know anymore. I don't really watch, but like he messaged me and he reached out to me, which I thought was so cool. And this was a while ago, before Korea. And he reached out, he was like, "Yo, can you hop in call one time and just look over a few Mundo games I played? And do you have any like guides, tips?" And like I sent him one a document that guide I did like long time ago. And I thought that was super awesome because I don't think there's enough players, and I've thought about this before. I don't think there's enough pro players going around to One Tricks and asking them about the champions they play a lot. And I think this would, benefit most people. But there's like always like an ego aspect of like,
No,
no, I
there's quite a
can't
few
figure it out.
times. Like, I mean, I don't mind leaking it. I've like tried to get like, I don't know if you remember, I tried to get Yike to learn Rengar from you.
Oh, was it? I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Like
I don't remember
I've
this.
messaged like Yike asking him if he wants to learn Rengar from you. Because I was like, oh,
That's
you guys
cool.
should play like Rengar Ivan. Like, why not? Like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's. I think like. Nah, Rengar's cooked. You ain't playing that in pro ever. I don't think. I'll be surprised if someone pulls that off. But Mundo, I was also like a big advocate. Like I want people to play this in pro because I think it's complete broken. Like for a very long time, I was advocating this
how does it feel
because
to
the
kind
champ
of
is
be
broken.
like a solo queue player and not like the biggest influence? I mean, in some ways, one of the more pronounced influences on this world. I mean, like Mundo is a
Yeah.
champion that won a few games for G2. He got G2 to quarterfinals. Everyone talks about the owner thing, but Yamato put it very well in his tweet, where basically like he did pick Mundo and it was cool, But he did also like imp the fuck out of that game and like only kind of won it because Gumayushi like popped the fuck off. Like the
That's
story,
probably true.
the story is very different. If like, did you hear the joke that one of the casters made because like Owner was just copying the enemy Skarner's build the entire game? He's basically just saying that like thank God that he's behind gold, otherwise he wouldn't know what to build.
Oh, maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't. To be honest, I didn't. I should maybe use to watch that game properly. I haven't really, but no, I think I actually learned a little bit as well from playing Mundo in Korea specifically, but also like from watching those worlds. But yeah, Mundo is very strong if you know how to play it proper. But I was like streaming a few times watching even the Mundo Goat Skumon play it because I'm like, come on, man, let's man up. Like you're unkillable here.
Do you think he's like how good at Mundo do you think Skumond is?
Oh, he's the best pro player playing it.
But then
I mean,
between you and him, like how much of a gap is there at Mundo?
I was gonna first. I was like, it's him and BB. Those are the two best Mundos because they're only two I've really seen play it. But between me and him, like,
Like
I haven't really thought about it. To be honest,
let's say you're a 10 because you're probably one of the best. You're probably the best Mundo jungler player in the world. If we're humble, if you're a 10 out of 10 at Mundo jungle, obviously in a solo queue environment or just yeah whatever.
in general,
What
sure.
is in general sure? What is Skumond out of 10?
I mean, like he's probably like 8 maybe. He doesn't know his numbers properly and completely, but he has a very, very good and rigid understanding of what the purpose of the champ is. Like I think he can squeeze a lot more, but in general he plays it the way he should be playing for pro play standards. But even for solo queue, like that's how you play it in solo queue as well. It's just that sometimes in solo queue people don't really know what you're doing and what you're providing. But like his clicks are like his clicks on the which is very important for Mundo specifically. But like his clicks are very good on Mundo. Like he knows how to create the space that he should be
So
getting.
you've been talking to
But
Vega V2 basically is what I'm hearing.
no,
Bad
but
click, good click.
but no, I said it because like I remember like the way I view. I mean, you kind of do the same on Rengar to be honest. But the way you view Mundo is like your what's it called, like a sheepdog. What's that called? Like a sheepdog where you're
A
like
sheepdog?
a shepherd dog.
A sh
What's that called?
Yeah, like a a
Where
shepherd dog.
you're like you have like you're almost creating like a Bloons tower defense map, and you're like putting them into a specific
Okay,
like
yeah,
angle,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you're like making them smaller and smaller and smaller. Like with Rengar, that's very obvious as well
Wait, is it
if you know
actually
how to
called?
use
Is it called
both.
a sheepdog?
Sheepdog,
I've never heard that before. Apparently, it's called a sheepdog.
herding the enemy. That's what you do. Like you herd them, you put them together, and then like you can create spaces and all this fun. And
You gotta be
that's
careful with
very
that word. That's one of your favorite words. Herd. You're.
fun. You're that's not mine. That's dirt, baby. You're
That's the similarity you have in mind with. You're not. To be fair, much respect to you. In comparison to Griffin yesterday, you've done barely any of your vocal stims that you do quite often. Speaking to Griffin yesterday, he was actually going like, oh yeah, for sure, for sure, the entire
No,
time.
I was watching a little bit of that. I
He's like,
was laughing my ass off.
on guard type shit for sure. That was him the entire time. And in
He's
comparison, you've not done any
yeah.
vocal stims yet, unless I prompted you to. So fair play.
No, but that's just like that's because you haven't made me like happy like like when you get real when I when I get really happy, like I'll just start saying some I create my own high. Like I get high on my own for free, and it's kind of broken. And then I'll just say something stupid. But
That's quite a statement. You sound like that's like a very like I'm 14 and this is deep Reddit statement. I get high on my own supply. Like my life is beautiful. You talked about the difference between you and Skumon's Nunu. Like obviously you said he's an 8, you're a 10. What's the difference between you and the god of Mundo, BriefcaseMan? Like, is there still some things that you have yet to learn from him?
I mean, he's watched, and I know he's probably watching, but
Yeah,
like,
he is. That's
and
horrible
I
to
love
say.
him. He's a very good Mundo player, and that's also why I don't like taking credit for it because it's not really true. Like I learned Mundo from talking to him and playing. But it was kind of like I think it was 2024 where I was like, hold up, I've been playing Mundo top lane because that's a lot of fun, and I was probably the best Mundo. I was the second best Mundo top player and Mundo player, and he was the best. But then when he quit, like I was playing top lane still, and at some point I was like, hold up, you're telling me I have the fastest clear in the game. and I don't need to play this early game on top lane, which, it's not the best as Mundo. And then I'll still be able to do these like controlling phases. But to be honest, the thing that tipped me over was just like you can invade, which was so fun because you're so fast. It's like the Syra invade, and I would just start smacking people's blue buff and take it. And yeah, I started playing Mundo jungle, and that's why I started doing it. But he's the goat, man. Like he created that champion as well. Like no one was playing it.
Absolutely. He's such an interesting figure of folklore. I won't even get into his lore,
No,
but
it's too much.
the
Too
man
much for
behind the
10 minutes.
man behind the mask briefcase, let's just say, not to reveal too much, but there's a lot to him. If people knew who the man behind the mask was, they don't know
But
who
he's
the
a
real
good man.
briefcase is. I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about LR because I remember going into 2025, when LR joined the league, it was a thing where Cadril was like messaging me quite often, or like I heard that he like was interested in you. He messaged me about Alaric, and I was like, oh, I must be the best GM ever because he's like interested in two of my players. So I knew he was interested in you at the time, but
I think he
obviously,
messaged me about this.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you were, by all accounts, this is what the Sheep article says, and it's been revealed and talked about. You were the second option behind Velia. Did you ever like talk to Cadril? Like, what was the process like with LR from your perspective?
That's the like he asked me about what happened in the playoffs, and I was like, "Shit, man, I don't know." And he's like, what kind of like ambitions do you have?" And to like he was to give him like a lot of praise. He was so different from the one I just experienced because I think this was after GX, or it might have been actually before. But I just remember there was
No,
very
it was
two
after. It
contrast.
was after GX.
It was so contrast. Like it was like he was updating me regularly and like talking about it. I think we went. I actually looked recently because I messaged him because he raided me and I was like, "Thank you for the raid." But anyways, I then saw that he like we actually had a call, which I barely remember. But he was probably asking me about all that then, and like obviously in my head I was like, "Bro, if I play here, fucking fantastic. Like this is almost done deal on my career. I'll actually be able to do and get stuff, even though like obviously I believe in my own gameplay, but even outside of the gameplay aspect, I'm like I'll just get so much exposure that'll just be there'll be free elo, and I wanted to do it very very much. I think I fumbled a little bit because I didn't really realize he wanted me to play at first. So he was asking me all these questions, which I could have probably answered more to seem like a better candidate. But like again, like I'm just honest. So it was like, would you rather stream or would you rather play pro? And I was like, I don't know at this point, but like I always like competing, and my dream has always been to compete. Like I always wanted to play LEC. I've always wanted to go even further than that, but um, I'm not too sure. I don't know if it's possible anymore. But um, yeah, I mean, like there was even like I don't know if this is nah, I shouldn't, but like overall, it was a very nice interaction, and I
What,
think
what, what were you
even
gonna
though I
say?
didn't get it, nah, it was just like I remember. No, I can't say that. I can't say that. But if there was now assumptions. But anyways, it doesn't matter. But like I remember, like I didn't even mind. Like when it happened, I didn't mind it. Like I remember I was at the gym and he said, "I think we're looking in another direction," or he said something like that. I don't remember what it said. He might have actually said it just straight up, which I enjoyed more. And I was like I was like hack squatting, and I was like, "Shit, man!" And
You
it was
added you added you
very.
added five more plates.
I was like, "Ah, shit, man! It is what it is." But I kind of quickly realized that like this is obviously like horrible, and I'm very like annoyed, mad, sad, all of these things. But I always have this like self reflection of like that's okay to like that is a sad thing to happen, and I'm okay with being mad, sad, whatever. But I think it um like took me 1 or 2 weeks, and then I was like, okay, now let's get back to it. And I was talking to a few people, um, and they helped me out a little bit with my mental. But like at some like it was like 1 or maybe 2 weeks, I don't know. And then after that, I was like, okay, let's do this shit the hard way. I still have a few more, a little bit more time. I can still do things, and that's fine. Um, but the hardest thing of all of this was that like with GX, I remember like I disliked time. I was like, fuck this guy, I'm better than this kid. Like, fuck this kid. Now, like obviously no hard feelings. I don't even really know who this, but like with Velja, I was like, I've spoken to this guy before. He's like a fellow coworker. He's a streamer, lol. But I didn't dislike him, and I thought he was good. And it triggered me so much because I was like, I want to hate this person. Again, this is what I get back to with you. Even I can't, like, in my head, I hate when I don't am able to hate someone, because then I'll just be in the stigma of like I'm sad and unfortunate that this thing happened, but I'm also very happy for him. And honestly, the thing that helped a lot was that I was young, because I was 9,
Yeah, you would have been
probably
19.
just I was turning 20 soon. But I was 19. I was like, you know what? I'm still young. I can still do things in this scene. This guy's a little bit older than me. He deserves.
Yeah.
And then you have
You're
to
like,
you
it's
have to
not
move
it's not
on.
so bad to lose out on an opportunity to a 25-year-old Serbian EBL reject.
But he's not. He's like 22, no, 21.
You said it, not
He
me.
was not.
You know,
I don't know how old this.
I'm fucking with you. In any
Oh,
case,
okay.
you don't get the LR offer, and then at that point, are you looking for other offers? Because I remember getting messaged about like LFL teams. I don't know why, but for some reason, like people thought I was your. They acted like I was your agent at this time. Because like, I would get messaged
I
by teams and be like, "Is Natty interested in this?" And then I would message you, and you'd be like, "Ah, I'm not so sure." I think there was an LFL team at the time that was interested in you, maybe.
I mean, this is gonna sound harsh, but I don't even like. This is not one of the big three that I remember. So like they must have been. I don't even remember this happening, to be honest. And
I don't.
again, like I'm very like I'm not put into the ERL scene at all. Like I know the big teams, but that's about it. Um,
When you compare yourself to like players that are kind of that I would say are your archetype, so I'd consider you in like the triptych, so to speak, the three of like is you, Yukino, and Griffin, like young Zoomer kids who are like really cracked at solo queue, play mechanical champs, and I look at you as all quite similar in some capacity. Griffin's gone to FlyQuest, Yukino's playing in LEC Versus, and you're streaming. Do you think you're as good as those guys? Because Griffin speaks highly of you.
I've spoken to Griffin a fair bit, and we messaged a little bit. And
We can throw
um,
Velya into that as well because obviously he went on to LR
yeah, I
from
was
being
gonna
a
say
streamer.
like I think he's also kind of in this, because also like the player profile being mechanical and very like hyphy. But I like, to me, I praise these people and I think they're very good. To be honest though, I remember Yukino, but the thing is when I lose to people I get triggered and I think they're dog shit. I remember when he went to EU, there was a boot camp he did here, and I didn't know who this was at all. And I was playing against him and I was like, this kid sucks. And he's so annoying because he picked this dog shit Diana and he just sit there and full clear and kill me, and I get so mad. But um, I've had not conversations, but I've interacted a bit, and I think they're very very good. Um, but the way I view myself in terms of skill and all of this, it's like I had this realization when I was in Korea. Like even though I'm playing against these big names, and they should like they are better than me. Like even I have to say they're better than me, but I will never say that. Like in my head, I don't think I'm better than anyone, but I also don't think anyone's better than me. Like I will not allow anyone to be better than me. And I can agree that people are better at certain things, and I want them to be, and I want to learn from it. But I will never be like, oh, this guy is better than me. Because I think if you do that, then you're never being able to compete with them. And if you're not competing with them, then I mean you're actually a dog shit. I don't
Do you
know.
think if things had gone differently, you could be in the same position that Yukino and Griffin are in now?
Yeah,
S-
probably.
Signed
I
to a
mean,
tier one org or going to a tier one org soon, presumably.
I, I mean, to be fair, I think you never know what would happen because so many snowball effects of things. So like I remember when I played with you, I was so triggered that like, what? Imagine, I mean, even you, I think you said it was a good thing, but I was like, imagine when I was like 16 and I started looking into pro play and I started learning from pro play. But the truth is like, maybe then I would have been this like dog shit pro player that's just stuck in and never
You
getting
can get
better.
really unlucky because it's like all that you could have a coach that's really bad for a year and they just ruin your development. They
There you go.
install all the bad ideas and whatnot. But I
Um,
do. For me, it's like one of those things. And one of the motivations in speaking to you is not only that, we've had like a close relationship, mentor at some points, like technically you were my employee at one point, as fucked up as that is. It's one of those things where it's like I look at you as one of the more pronounced tragedies that I've experienced in my recent years, where it's just like I've always felt since the moment I met you that you have the potential to go to LEC. My belief was shaken slightly from the Ruddy Sack split, not in a bad way, but more so that Ruddy Sack split made me realize that it wouldn't be as straightforward for you as it would be, as I thought before. Because before I just thought if he just works, he's going to waltz his way and he's destined for it. But the Ruddy Sack split made me realize that, like, because of the way that you've learned and because of the way that you've like played solo queue the last few years, there's a lot of gaps that you would have to like redirect your focus towards. And I'm not sure if you're capable of, like, it would be difficult for you. You're definitely capable, but it would be a difficult decision for you to make. So I always look at you as like someone that, like, I'm like, it's such a shame that you're not gonna, I mean, not that you're not gonna. I mean, you might change your mind, but you probably won't play LEC, or like you don't really want to play pro at the moment. I look at it as like a tragedy. How do you reflect upon that? Because you're obviously very happy streaming, but you said at your core you're a competitor and you've always wanted to do that.
I mean, like I'm not gonna say who it was, but I remember this was probably 2024, so I was like okay at the game at the time, like actually okay. I remember I was watching like so. I mean, I hope we get to it at some point, but like the way EU works is so sad to me because we are just recycling the same people over and over and over and over and over again. And I'll just see some of these people playing, and I'm like, they are just not, they're not better than me, and I'm not even good. And I'm like, how is this possible? And from playing in Ruddy Sack and like being aware and being like not a delusional moron, I realized that there's obviously things outside of your pure gameplay that is affecting how you are as a pro player. Like you have to be like, even I think now people are realizing like you have to be somewhat a good like social person almost to some degree. I don't know how to explain, but like you have to find like a group of people that work together, because if that's not the case, then you're not going to get better as a team.
Yeah.
And then it's like you have to also be, especially for a jungler, you have to be very communicative and you have to be very good at being able to talk about the things you're doing while you're doing it.
Which is something that
Or like
you
being
you
a
struggle
leader.
with somewhat as well,
I,
right?
I, I struggle with this especially. And I mean, the like I don't know, I don't know if you want to get to the Ruddy like later, but like
We
the
can
amount
we
of
can
things
take it whatever
I
direction you want.
learned
Yeah.
is like absurd. I did not know a lot of the things that I like before I came to Ruddy. I didn't know a lot of the things that I know now. But a lot of that has to do with also like I would never watch pro play. I never cared about it. I just played League and I'd watch like barely Worlds. Like I didn't even like I would barely watch World most of the time. But then like I would talk to Yamato a lot and I learned a lot from him, but I also learned from like Gaithan and all these other people that were like, because the team was like kind of established ERL players to some degree at least. And like they taught me a lot on what I should be doing to maximize. So like I was thinking about this when you said like I had very high econ stats on this AI that you said, but
No, not quite AI,
this
but yeah.
tracking, right? And the one thing, so I was behind Inspire probably or someone else, whatever it is. But the thing that he would do that I probably didn't do is like I wouldn't go and put myself in a position where I'm taking from the enemy. I would just take from myself, and if the opportunity arises, I would take from them as well. Um, which he probably didn't do. Like he put himself into the situation where he's forcing it to be taken from someone else, whereas I wouldn't. So like the idea of like, oh, I'll just go and invade because my camps are safe. I'll just take theirs, and then we'll see what happens after that. I didn't do before Radisac, and this helped a lot. I mean, like I think if I didn't go Radisac, I would never have gotten rank 1 Korea, because there's like things you have to do there that I did not know before I went to Korea.
And can we just set something apart on the narrative? Because that bastard, that drug-addled crack addict, I will dominate, has spread a rumor that I was the one who took you out of the team so that I could play jungle. Guys, let's just make something very clear here, once and for all. I will dominate if you're listening. You bold bonobo of a moron, you syphilitic scab on the bell end of mankind, I will dominate. Christian Rivera, you fake Mexican. Let me speak to you right now. I'm the reason that you came back to Ruddy Sack. I was the one who was pushing since the beginning of the year we need to put Natty in. We need to put Natty in. We need to put Natty in. We need
But
to
you
put Natty in.
you gave me a heartbreak too,
Which one? Remind me.
because I wanted to play with Humzh. But then I was like, I remember I was in
But
a
that's not.
car.
It's not my fault.
No, no,
Humzh
no,
would
no.
have played Spring, but you know the UK
Let me
government thought
say.
he was a terrorist, right?
I
That's
know,
not like.
I know. But let me say this. I remember I was in a car. I was like shopping with my family, and and I was like, no, no, no. You guys go and shop. I'm gonna sit in this car and I'm gonna talk. And I don't know if I messaged you or if I was calling you and we were
Mm.
talking about it. And I was like, I probably will get this spot. Like I'm hyped as shit. This will be amazing. I'll play with Humzh. Like this will be a lot of fun. And I don't know if there was other players at the time that were already good. I was like, I'll compete against LR, and I was like, fuck LR. I'm gonna cook them, bro. Because I lost the space. I gotta hate them.
Yeah.
That's again like I gotta hate them.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in this car and I'm like listening to you talk, and you're like, we will take you, or probably the only reason we wouldn't take you is if someone else comes that we just cannot refuse. Or maybe that was Yamato actually, because I was playing Yamato
No, I
flex games
remember.
for
I
a while.
remember. I remember saying something similar to that because the thing was, I wanted you from the beginning of the year, and like Dom and Yamato will say this. Like for me, it was like the minute I started working with I Would Dominate and Yamato, I was like, cool, Natty's my lock. I want Natty for jungle.
Yeah.
Like I was pushing for it for day one because I was like,
But
I worked with him. I worked with him before, and then it was a thing where when Yankos was an option, because I think the first thing that kind of happened was, I think the first two people we kind of pretty much was on the table was Yankos and Perks, and then everything else was kind of decided through that. Jack Spectra wanted to play with Nash, and then like we needed a mid laner that Yankos and Perks would agree to play with, and because they don't watch ERLs, Leader was the best option because it's like they would
yeah.
associate him with being good enough for the level. So like if it wasn't Yankos, it would have been you, but it's like Yankos was too
But
good to turn down at that time.
like the way when you said that and you were like, okay, I'm like, okay, but who can this be? I'm fine. I swear I'm better than fools. And then you go like, oh, but it's Yanko. Oh, like this is probably the only person that you could ever get that would be able to play because they're not playing ARL or LEC
Yeah,
already. And like even outside of that being actually better, and I'm like, holy,
it's the
what
one
is this?
guy. Yeah.
And it was like and then that was like, okay, now it's been GX, which I want to play, and then it became LR, and now I couldn't even get into fucking Ruddy sack. And I was like, this is
And
some
it's like
bullshit.
your own family as well. It's like you've been there before, like
And that was like, yeah, no, that hurt. Not specifically the last
yeah, of
one, but like
course.
overall in general. And I started like this is the only time I spoke to my parents about all this and my sister. And I was like, there's lucky going on. And luckily, I was talking to one of my friends. It's called Janubi. He's a very good friend of mine, and like he's kind of like a big brother for me. And he was like, "Hey, that would have been the easy shots. Now you got to do it the hard way." And
Type shit.
I just kept going into this direction of like thinking that way all the time, over and over and over again. And then obviously Ruddy Sack came along the second edition, and always like I was probably like, I don't know if I want to play pro play, but I think at the time I was like, you know what, it wouldn't hurt to do anyways. And the players that you told me were like in my standards good enough, and I'm very happy I did it because I learned a very, very much. And talking to the teammates afterwards, I don't think they have any annoyings of me, but for sure I was the person that needed the most help of
Yeah,
growing
it was a
and
weird
getting
roster
better.
because it was like before, it was like you needed a lot of work the first time you played on Ruddy, but it was like I don't think this was a direct feeling, but I felt like a lot of people in the team felt like, well, we can direct you, but it's also like it's not the most effective use of time to direct you because it's like other people are doing stuff that's bad as well, and other people need to learn stuff. Like Alix
I
was like
feel
the biggest thing to work on in that year. It's like there's no point
like
spending all this time on you if like Alix needs to learn how to like not die for one minion in the side lane or like die at level 2 every game.
I mean, like I don't know. This is gonna come across almost like like ego, but I feel like I was a rookie with a lot of dumb mistakes, but I was still almost like the best, if not like one of the best at least on the team. And it
Yeah,
was also
for
like
sure.
I very early became like I was like the leader, the guy who would hype people up for the fight and for for the games. And I remember you even told me you're like you gotta be more energetic because if you don't have the energy, ain't no one having the energy.
No, I remember that. I remember that conversation. It was a thing where I was just like, listen, you might not realize, but if your mood's low, everyone's mood's low. I said
Yeah,
like you're the lightning rod for the team. I think that's how I described it.
yeah.
And then you stepped up into that kind of more leadership role, for sure.
But then on Ruddy's side, I mean, like, then they kind of knew what to do, and obviously everyone we all did mistakes and we learned. Everyone had to grow and learn, but a lot of it was for sure from like trying to. And like I also have this like it's not, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a toxic trait, but I can see how it can be annoying for people. But this is even coming back to school. Like this is how I had it. Like you need to explain it because I don't just buy things. Like I remember when I graduated, my Swedish teacher, she was like drunk and we were like at a gala and we were like she was talking to me, but anyways, and she's like, "You're a little rat." She was like, "You are so annoying, but you're very, very. I'm blessed to have taught you this." She's a very good person,
Okay, that's nice.
but like
A
this is
bit
a
worried for
good.
a second, but this is a good story.
No,
Yeah.
no, this is a very good. This is a good story. And she's like, because I would always have to do and put everything up with like purpose and meaning behind. Because I remember there was like things you would and tasks you would tell me to do, and it's like, oh, you should do this, and I just straight up say like, okay, first of all, are we getting graded on this? And why are we doing it? And she's like, no, you're not getting graded and you're doing it to try to prepare for this next thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing it. I'm fine with the next thing, just
Yeah,
doing the
that's
next
really
thing.
that's it's one of your more
But
annoying traits, to be honest.
yeah, so like when we were playing, like there was like so many conversations that would take a long time because you had to explain to me why we're doing it. And as you're explaining, I will be like receptive. Like I will try to take it all in, but that's
Yeah, but it's
sometimes
one of
not
those things
coming
where it's like that's
across.
fine doing it a few times, but then after the 50th time, you're just like,
But it's new things.
it's like I need you to understand that like I appreciate that, but also we'd be over here if we never had to explain it, like, and we'd be further, like along.
Yeah. That was actually the only time I accepted something like that was my math teacher actually it was physics, and I was like, why does this make, like why do we need to have, like, where is this formula from? And she's like, I'm not gonna explain that to you, and you'll maybe understand it later on. It's like okay, fair
That's a
enough.
good way of dealing with you, actually. I should have
No, but
taken.
it was like
I
very
should have.
like because I respect her a lot. She was like, nah, I ain't doing that shit. Like you just do it, and we'll talk about it when it comes to it. I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
I should have. I should have
because then
employed.
that's an explanation. Like I don't mind that.
I should have employed more of that method. But how did it feel playing in Ruddy Set? Because we obviously you came in, and ironically, like that's the split where we conquered the Bulldogs, for example, like that team that literally like haunted me and I Will Dominate's life for like the good part of like 3 months. It's just like four farmers and that fucking Exofen kid, like literally just ruining two former international winners, three even technically if you count Wunder on the bench. And then we finally beat them 2-0. So what was it like playing on Ruddy Sec? How did you feel?
Um, no, I enjoyed. It was very fun. I was there because I had to avenge Humzh. I felt like he was betrayed. So like I didn't
Betrayed by who?
understand let's not get into it. But
Do you know the
um
story? Do you know the story of like what? So like at one point, Humzh, I became like Humz's immigration lawyer for some reason.
no, I heard and
Just
you
just
told this. I've
just
yeah.
just to give clarification for like I'm like relatively knowledgeable about certain things, but at a certain point, Dom and Yamato were just like, well, he's in the UK, you have to handle this, and I just became his immigration lawyer for some reason. He's got like a manager and he has a solicitor or something, and the solicitor's calling me, and he's like, yeah, so Humzh, we're gonna try and get him this visa, but you need to tell me a little bit about League of Legends. We're gonna get him this creative visa, and then I'm just like there, just like this is so outside of my pay grade. Like I was playing Nunu in Diamond 4 this morning. Like I'm not prepared for this. And then basically it transpires that they thought he was a Yemenis, like they thought he was Yemenis, like a Yemenis refugee or something like this. I think
Yep.
they thought he was Lebanese. I think he is Yemenis, right? Someone in
Yeah,
chat
he's
correct
from
me.
Yemen. Yeah, he's
So he is Yemenis. They thought he was Lebanese, and like that's the most classic UK thing to ever happen. So he was deported because they thought he was a refugee from another country, instead of like being like someone who's just there to do work.
unlucky.
And then he just couldn't, yeah, he couldn't play anymore. So there's
Yeah.
no betrayal. We would have had him for another split. He was great. He sucked
No, but
absolutely.
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. But that's the only thing like motivated me to try and beat the
Ah,
Bulldogs
okay.
because I didn't understand who they were at all. But
Oh, apparently it's
no,
Yemeni. I apologize. I'm not. Actually, I am pretty geopolitically educated, so I'm quite ashamed of myself for not getting that. I do apologize. I'll make a I'll make an apology publicly after this for calling it Yemenis instead of Yemeni. That's a bit of a Humzh moment. That's rubbed off on me. You gotta understand, if you spend a lot of time around Humzh, it's like being around radioactivity. Like your brain just kind of erodes at a certain point. So that's a casualty of being around him. I apologize.
depends what you're talking about.
What do you mean?
He's a very smart person. I know you don't believe this. I mean, you do
No, I
kind of.
do. No, I
Like
do. When he puts the
he's hey,
turtleneck on, he turns into
there's
someone
two
else.
things he knows a lot about, and it's business and it's League of Legends. Those are
Yes.
the two things, and he's very smart about it because I've learned and he's taught me a lot and it's helped me a bit.
That is the thing. It's like famous. Like, I remember when I was hanging out with Nick and Sanch and him in Paris at Worlds last year, and it's like you're just at like breakfast with him, and he just like he has the turtleneck on, and he's just like, so so are you on a 360 or like what kind of ad revenue is you running? Like he turns into like
Yeah,
he turns into like
yeah, yeah,
Idris
yeah,
Elba in like The Wire.
yeah,
He's like
yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah,
like, so
yeah.
what you got to do is you got to supply the demand and you got to
No,
demand the supply.
no,
That's
he
what you got to
said
do.
that to me. He's like, no, you gotta put it. Because we were sitting all five of us in Korea, and he like, no, you gotta do that, and you gotta do that, and you. What are you doing? No, you ain't doing that. You gotta get to
Listen,
that
this
one
whole
instead.
trip, this has got to run like clockwork. This has got to run like clockwork.
You gotta be smart about it.
Literally, he just turns
No,
into like there's this
he's great.
amazing meme of like this guy's holding up his phone to show a tweet, and it's like fellas put on a turtleneck and turn into Steve Jobs, and it's a picture of a guy in a turtleneck giving a presentation, and I feel like that is Humzh.
That is
He just turns into like the biggest finance bro whenever you talk about like ad revenue or like ads on Twitch. This is just amazing. So, but talk to me about some. Do you have any like what was your like favorite experience with some of your teammates that you played with on Ruddy Sec? Or like favorite moments?
I probably one of my most memorable is probably in Denmark when we met up all of us,
That was nice.
and specifically after we lost, me or even before we lost, I think it was me paying Marlon and Nata because Gaten is sleeping somewhere else doing side quests.
Gathan is such
Uh,
a princess, by the way. He turned up to the hotel and was like, "This is so shit. I'm going to book another hotel. This
and
is
then he's
not
like,
good."
"There's bugs here, but there was no bugs there. We all know it was no bugs there." But anyways, no, and we went to Max, which is a
Yeah,
famous burger joint,
yeah,
Swedish by the way. But and actually you were there
yeah,
with the
yeah.
Max. But then afterwards we were speaking after the loss, and I asked them about their experience in ERL because again, like circling back, like I like talking about other people, and
Hmm.
they've done way more, obviously, and like they've like played offline and been living with other gamers in a team. I thought that was cool, and I asked them a lot about their experiences. Some sad, like I feel like I also probably from talking to those three, I got a much more distaste for esports in general, and especially in the league scene, because there's so much shit that goes on that it's just not acceptable from my term and my standing and how I would operate. And even like I have another good friend of Brohan's called Dennis, who's also had this like horrible experience in
Densey.
esports, and it just Dennis exactly, and it's just a lot of sad stuff, and I just feel like there's, I mean, it boils down to just bad GMs, bad coaches, and all this,
Bad humans, I would say. Just
bad
this.
humans, and this is kind of like again, I hope we get to this at some point, but like I don't think EU will ever be better than other regions if we're just hurting ourselves from the inside. And it's so sad that we have none, like we don't have any like I mean, I'm not advocating for like national pride, but like European pride of like I wanna I want to be better than everyone. And we don't like look at ourselves and each other as like let's grow and get better as a total. It's always like obviously there's business involved, and I understand this.
There's a lot of
Everyone thinks
status
of their
quo.
own.
It's a lot about I'm in this
Yeah,
position and I don't want to allow someone to become above me, so I'm going to push them down. That's what it feels like to me. There's a lot of people I've experienced, like GMs or other roles, like even agents, like even like players, where it's just like they can't accept the idea that maybe someone might challenge them to push themselves. and it's like they're comfortable at what their skill level is. So therefore, the idea of someone that might be better than them is threatening, and then they suppress that talent. There's a lot of like talent suppression in the region, I would say. It's a big problem.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
But it's kind of not ironic, but I suppose it's like I'd need to push you on it because it's a thing where obviously in some ways you're a victim to that kind of vicious cycle, but then where do you kind of find that balance of perseverance? Because it's like you're saying we all need to like push and be proud, but where do you sit in terms of like playing pro? Is it a possibility for you? Like how do you reason with that?
I mean, the problem for me is that I would never like. I would be much more annoyed at myself in the future if I tried to do something and it turned to shit that I kind of knew would go bad. So, I mean, I've said this before, like the only way I would ever pro play is if there's some like real reason to play in the ERL or like straight up, but that will never happen because that would just not happen. So, like I know it's very egoistical to say it because like who am I to think I can play at the highest level of Europe. But it's like I would never like subject myself to playing below it because um, I don't think it would ever make sense for me. Especially now in the position I'm in. But even before that, like I didn't think I was as bad as people that I would be playing against. And to some degree, it was not true. But I think now I'm much more complete, where I would probably say that it is true. I think the thing that I'm bad at in pro play is communication. But even like you can tell me if I'm like completely out of my own ass on this, but I don't even think my comms are not like I don't want to say that it's bad
I think
because
for you
then it
to
seems
be
like
for
I'm
you to be good
clueless.
for you to be good, you'd have to work on it. But I think you
For
could get
sure,
better at
for
it.
sure,
But it
for
does hold
sure.
you back a lot for sure. Your biggest problem is that like you have a lot going on in your mind, and that's fine if you find players that are really good and on the same page. But it's going to stifle your growth a lot at the beginning because you have a lot of things in your mind and you don't communicate it, and therefore you're on a different path. And then also you're a moron because you don't communicate these things, but then you get annoyed if other people don't follow them. But it's like, how can they follow them if you don't communicate them? That was like my biggest evaluation of that problem for you.
What do you mean by like follow? Because I'm thinking of what you're saying now. I'm thinking of like if someone makes a mistake, I'll get triggered because I'll have that mistake replaying in my mind the whole
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah.
And I can't like focus for the next one. And sometimes the truth is like this is what happens to me in solo queue as well. But the times I climb and I do really well is because I just don't care about the mistakes and I just literally go next play instant. And if you have that mindset in pro play as well, I mean that's what the good players do for sure. Because there's a lot of griefs in pro play as well. But you have to just move on and be like, okay, how do we play the next scenario out? And what's the way out, you know? 'Cause there's a lot of way out, especially in solo queue,
I
but
think what I
in
mean is
pro
like
play there's less.
there's kind of a big gap between what goes on in your brain and your mouth sometimes because you are someone that can kind of very much envision how the game looks in your mind,
Well,
but because that's so hyper focused, to then transition that into the kind of the modal kind of machine of the mouth and like actually bring that into the game and bring other people into that is where you find difficulty.
I would say that this is the evaluation I would do. I agree, but a lot of it has to do with me. Like, if I'm the reason I'm good at solo queue as well is because there's no one talking, and if no one is talking to me, I'll be gladly like pinging, communicating, and doing all these things. But if someone is saying something that I think is wrong, I will often bandwagon it because I will not be able to during it's happening. I will not be able to be like, no, that's wrong, and I'll be
Mm.
like, kind of just believing. And I mean, that's a good thing to some degree because as a teammate, you have to believe in everything that your teammates want to do. But it's also if you know what's right, shouldn't do something that is wrong.
Yeah, but you'd have to reason that, and I think I mean the good thing about interviewing you and talking to you and Griffin is I've watched you grow up a lot in the last like 2 3 years. So I think you're further to it, but you'd still need to like if you wanted to do it, you'd have to work on that a lot, I think. Because
Oh, for sure, for sure.
it's a thing where like even now you're talking about it, you're not fully there yet, I feel, but it's just experience. Because it's like, for example, it's less about right or wrong. Like you can bandwagon something if it's wrong, which is fine, but it's also like there's just nuance to it, right? And it's just about if you're presenting the plan every time, then you actually have an original point to go back and criticize. Whereas if it's like if you don't bring it into reality, there's no tangible to talk about.
Oh yeah,
Like if we go
no,
into
for sure.
review
I mean,
afterwards and we're like,
this
I
is
was thinking this, it's like, oh great, you were thinking it, but no one else
this
knew,
is
right?
something I learned when I was playing for Yamato as well. Like I a lot of this is like even the way I operate reviews now in League is like I know what you did something. I think you could have done something else, but that doesn't really matter because I never said it. So, like for
Yeah.
example, for solo queue warriors, like you can't flame a teammate if you didn't ping them or tell them not to do what they did, because then that's your fault because you could have been all seeing and all observing to know that they're doing it wrong. So you shouldn't be mad because it's actually your fault. And realistically, for the next game, that's what you should try to do. The only time like okay, never mind. That doesn't matter. But like for pro play, it's like then you have to just be so like you have to be so. This is what's hard, I think, and this is the thing that differentiates, I guess, what's the good and the bad ones. But that's also hard from like an outside perspective because we don't know because we don't. Sorry, did I just freeze?
No?
No. Okay, we're fine. But we don't know because we don't see, like we don't hear and we don't see it because it's not like public information. So we don't actually know how much someone is doing and how little someone,
Yeah, that's a
which
point.
is kind of annoying for like building everything up and like creating a new,
Well, I experience this
a
all the time with like
young talent.
for like you and Alex and Alaric, like I know from being in like certain communities like Sheep Esports Discord, for example, like I'll see them talking there. They're like, we need to sign Alaric to Carmine Corp, or like we need to sign NattyNatt, or we need to sign Alex. And I'm just like, I've always just like, whenever like I've had people tag me, because I have people tag me, like French people, they're like, hello, what do you think of NattyNatt? Can you tell me about him? And I'm like, yeah, he's good, but like he's not like the way they talk about it is like you're the finished product, and I try and give like a very realistic answer. Like for me, it's like when people were pushing Alaric to join KCB or whatever, and I think even this offseason he was the second option. I was like, Alaric's good, but like he needs to like work on like a very specific thing. And if you can
Yep.
get him to work on that, he'll be good. But like he's not that great because of it. And it's like with
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you're like one or two things away from being like really good, but it gets in your way a lot. So it's like that's like the realistic answer. I suppose it goes with what you're saying as well. It's like the way that people evaluate players is so like based on like so how often do you see players like people are like, oh, this player's insane, but then it's like when you take them out of that environment, you realize, oh, it was actually the jungler that was insane, or it was the support that was insane, because the way they played lane was like completely bailed out like every game by them. Like it's like people are very bad at like isolating factors and evaluating like that, right?
I mean, this happens all the time, right? In pro play, will you see like frauds? The not frauds, I guess, but like I mean, it's interesting, and even like like I don't know, like super teams and things like this, they almost always fail because kind of realize you can't have all power and all stars. Like you have to have someone being able to give as well, and especially in league, like you have to have someone being willing to give up for
Were
others
you
to
were you
gain.
there when Bippo came in and gave a talk to the team? I think you were, right?
Yeah, I don't know why I was, but I was there.
Well, no, I think you weren't even on the team at the time, but I thought it
No,
was
I
I thought
wasn't.
it was very important to have you come and listen to him. Do you remember what
It was
Bippo was
fun.
like telling us about? Like, because that was a big part of what he was telling us about, what you just said there.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, I probably where I gained that from, and I just forgot it. But no, I kind of remember him coming in and
He
talking a little
talks about
bit. I
like
don't remember
the way
exactly
to
what he
be a
said,
good
but
teammate is just to make sure that if you have to sacrifice things to win, then you should do that,
yep.
basically.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I think that's like I don't know if people think I this is again like this is what makes it hard because like I don't know if other people have this mindset. This is the one thing I'm happy that I don't. Like I've never played for the few teams I played for. I mean, it's only you, but I've never had the I like when we were playing. You would never hear me go, okay, the only time I did that was actually EMEA Masters, but you never hear me go like, "Fuck it, pick me this dog shit champion," because I'm like I used to want to pick fucking. Do you remember when I played Talon? I think I did in EMEA Masters one time. I just remembered, but it's like, my team is shit. Like just pick me something and I'll look good. And I've never had the idea because I know League is team based, so I've never felt the need. And I don't know if other pro players have the same view, but like you should never, as a good teammate, as a good player, you will never have the idea that you need to look good. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be an Inter if my team is doing good. I don't care. Because if we're winning, that's all that matters. Like genuinely, that is all that matters. And I don't know, and I hope that no one has these like perceived ideas that they need to look good and play and do certain things because if they don't, they won't have a good market value. But like that's not how you actually get good, and that's not how you actually like improve. Uh, but
Just
I don't know if that makes.
just to give people an idea, like, because I'm sure people will be wondering like what the Bwipo thing was like. We don't need, well, then we'll move on to Korea. But I mean, Ruddy was like a weird thing because like we never like had a lot of money to pay people, but I would like call in like so many personal favors during the split. Like it'd be like Kazi would come and do like our warm up talk before an important game, or like Whippo came in and did like a 1 hour seminar on like how to be a pro player. And basically, Whippo came in one day and spoke to all the players. Like it was basically like, this is how you should carry yourself as like a professional in terms of like, be a good guy, be a good teammate, and make sure that you're like making sacrifices. There was like a whole like there was like a list of 3 things. I can't remember what they were. But I recorded that seminar and I sent it to like most players who's ever worked at Ruddy as basically like a guideline of like how to like basically like how to like put the team first because it was like a really good talk. But talk to me about career because I remember I didn't mean this about you, but like the whole thing going into Korea was like all of your lot, like Spearshot, Brohan, Dekta, all of these guys were like. I remember Brohan made the troll list where he was like saying what everyone was gonna get. He was like, "Oh, Natty's probably gonna get at least top 10. I'm gonna get top 50. Like Spear will get top 50." And I remember replying to it. I was like, "Yeah, I don't. I think you guys are like a little bit too gassed." I had a feeling that you would do well, but I didn't. I mean, to be honest with you, if you asked me if you'd get ranked in Korea, as a friend of yours, I'll be honest. Like, I'm not gonna glaze you in post. I don't think you get rank 1. So, did you think you were going to get rank 1 before you went?
I I thought I would be able to. That's what I thought. And I wanted to I think like I even remember like having talks with the boys and like talking about it and being like, okay, if I don't get top 10, I'll be kind of but that's where I drew the line of like what I actually like expected from myself. And then like you could ask them about me in Korea and they would probably say that this is just how I was just always the guy who was just like, okay, like yeah, I can do it. Need to do these things. Like very systematic and very like emotionless. Because this is also something, and we're going back to it all the time. But like I even like when I got rank 1, I even made like I hope I did like I said it on stream or something like that. I was like, bro, I could literally not have done this without Yamato, and that's even outside of like um the whole like learning from like league perspective of like getting him as a coach for League of Legends, which also was like there was 2 3 things that he taught me that was very important for league and how to like get better and win games. But even outside of that, like the whole like he's like the what's the oh what's the guy who coached M- Michael Jordan uh,
Uh,
with the triangle. He's very like
the
you need to be in
glasses.
tune with
Why
tune.
can I not remember? Phil Jackson. Phil
Phil
Jackson.
Jackson. You need to be in tune with your like your emotions and all of these things. And he told me something, and I want if you're like a league player and you're trying to get better, something you need to start doing is know when you are putting yourself up for a good day of league, which is like what your routine is like, what you're doing the day before, how what you're doing the day off, and how you can actually maximize the ability to play well. And that's something I never thought about. Like I probably had like some time, probably thought of something like it, but never like properly done it. And then I would look at like Peng, for example. He's this methodical freak. Like he goes on a walk at 10:30 to like 20 seconds up. Like
Yeah,
it's
Peng
some
was a
crazy
thing where
stuff.
like if he doesn't have his nat before game, like it affects him. Like he
He
has
was
like a
cooked.
yeah.
Like I realize I'm good when I have no emotion. Like I don't have any emotion.
You don't have
And
any what?
it's
Sorry.
interesting. Like if I have no emotions, I'll play best. And I remember I said this, and he's like, "Yeah, that's some people have this." But then, like for example, the one example he uses, like, I would never wanna. He said I would have never wanted to rile up Mervin before a game, top laner, because that guy will go freak mode if he's like mad and very emotional. Then he just cooks fellas, And like for example, other people are like me, and some are like him. And for me, it works to be very like no emotional and very like look at the next play and just say nothing. And even like looking back, or the only emotion I can have is like happiness, I guess, because my climb in Korea was um like at the start of obviously very very good. And I got 1500 LP very
With
easily,
like an
very
absurd
quickly.
win rate, right? Like it was like
I
what
had
did you get?
80,
80,
something like that.
1500.
Yeah, I think there's a, I don't even know. I didn't. There's just also something back. I look back at it. I should have tweeted, not tweeted more, but I should have taken more screenshots because I'll want to remember it at some point. But for me, it was just kind of like this is not my goal. So even when that was happening, I didn't really care. Like I remember when I broke top 10 first time, I still didn't care because I had been breezing through it so easily. I was like, okay, this is not rank one. Um, but like you have to be very like freak. Like for me, I had to be very freakishly emotionless, um, and just not think about too much. And that's something I learned from Yamato, like to know how you function and what makes you good and when you play well. And like it's so easy for me to like recollect of like how I climbed and why I climbed, and also why I didn't climb because I had a 2 month hiatus of being stuck 15 on LP, and now they were saying I was dog shit, but like I was still stuck 15 on LP, so I was fine with it. But it's like I didn't climb and I couldn't go further because I had things in my mind. I there was things that were going on, and I think when
What
I
was
had
what
two
was
things
what
in
was going
works,
what was going on?
like there was some like personal stuff that was happening that was cooking my mental. But the thing is, when I have two things, it's okay. So when that was happening, I was fine. But then he got to the third one, and that's when I like my system shuts down. And that was basically
Are you comfortable talking about what the personal things were? Because I feel like people would like that insight about you and get more of an idea of what was going on in your head. But if you're not comfortable, you're not comfortable.
not really like it was just
Okay.
like I just experienced things that took a lot of my headspace away from me. So I was like, even while playing, I would be thinking about this all the time. But like I would have like glimpses of being able to get over it and not think about it, but they
Absolutely.
would always just re like
I
come
on- I
back.
only I I only asked because earlier you talked about in Korea. It was like very insightful as someone that's known you for so long that you talked about how I can't remember what it was you said at the beginning of this interview, but you talked about it being difficult for you in Korea in terms of like having to be focused on one thing.
Yeah,
And I kind of wanted to
and
get an
that
insight
was,
because I feel like so many people go to Korea and it's just they experience the mind-numbing experience of being in a little box room and playing League for 16 hours a day. So I wanted to get more of an insight into how you kind of handle that mental turmoil.
I mean, like okay, this is actually, I don't know. I mean, fuck, I can say this anyway. Not like I think this is a kind of, I don't know if like I guess viewers understand it, but as and I think a lot of streamers and maybe even pro players to some degree, I'm not too sure, but it's the most, and streaming is easy by the way, but it's the most lonely experience you can do.
Hmm.
It does not get lonelier than being a streamer, especially a league streamer, or like not even especially a league streamer, but like a gamer streamer. And I think when I'm home in, where I am now, I'll have my family, I'll have friends, um even though I don't meet up with them a lot, but like I'll have them around, so it doesn't get to the point where it gets too much.
Hmm.
But in Korea, it's like I was playing, and also something. This is, I mean, if you're an up and coming streamer, this you should listen to, because when I went to Korea, people think it's like I would say a lot of it is luck. I got very lucky with my explosion and my career. Very lucky, and I'm blessed and I'm grateful. But I did things that I think people didn't do too much when they think about going Korea. Like I set up a plan on how I was gonna do things and how I was gonna operate, because like I'd figured out how I played the best. I know how to like perform the best. So like I was playing 4 to 8 hours most of the time, especially when I got higher elo, because I know after that I can't perform as well. So like I would end stream. Like I didn't try to. to I guess like milk it for the money because I have a lot of viewers, because I knew overall I'm not going to I'm not gonna grow from streaming longer, but I will grow from getting higher rank. So my whole purpose there was to get high elo. The only thing I didn't allow myself to do, and I never budged on, was I never wanted to have delay because streaming is more boring if you have delay.
Hmm.
And then like map cover and shit, I don't do because I don't think people are ghosting. And also, if you do, your mindset gets cooked. But anyways, that's besides the question.
You end
And I
up
also
like one
never.
of your biggest enemies.
No, he's good man. And then like the other one, we can get to that later maybe. But then the other one was I never wanted to play off stream. I think in total I had one day off where I played a few. I think maybe 5 games off stream. That was it on Korea. My whole Korean like solo queue was broadcasted because I was like, yes, I'm here to get high elo because it will grow my stream, but I'm also here to stream and it's for me to work. So I need to stream. If I'm playing, I'm streaming. Um, but like, so the reason I said this and with like getting lonely is because I would sit in a room and I would play, but then I would only play like 8 hours or 6 hours. And in the start, it was fine because I had to do a lot of things. And outside of what I was already talking about, getting high elo, I also was like, okay, I need to set up my YouTube editors. I need to set up my TikTok editors and all these shorts and all this like content creating things. I need to do it ASAP. I need to get this shit pumping. And I told my editors, I was like, we're gonna go Korea and we're gonna make it, and we gotta fucking grind on this shit. And like he started pumping out 2 videos a day for a while, and then he went back to one. Like I was very methodical. I was asking Humzh again. This is what I mean. Like he's very very smart on this, and I took as much information as possible to be able to do it as well as possible. So for the beginning, like when I was done with stream, I would monitor all my like business sides of things, and I would like set up all the meetings to like talk to all the people and get everything sorted. But when I had that sorted and I like automatically going, and I guess to some extent, like when it's happening, you're kind of like like I was like surprised about it. So I would like look at it and I'll be like, holy shit! Like if I'm making this amount from a stream, or just the fact that I have this many people like watching me, it's so absurd and it's so like you don't even believe that it's happening, and I
Mm.
couldn't fathom it. So for a while, that kind of got to me as well. But then like when it's all set in and you kind of accepted it and you don't even think about that anymore, then all of a sudden I'm streaming 6 hours, maybe eating for 2 hours and going on like IRL stuff, and then I'm just 8 hours left of my day where I'm just doing nothing, and that shit gets lonely real quick, especially if you have no one to be around. So that kind of cooked me a little bit, and and yeah, but I would say like the three things was like I guess the three things that was on my mind was that like the league aspect, and then that's what I wanted to focus on. But then I got stuck in this like personal shit, and then on top of that, I was now also thinking about how I've kind of like it started getting to me. I've kind of done it, but now I don't know how to progress
Maintain or progress.
and
Yeah.
maintain it. And it started all going a little bit too much, and the problem was that my variances in streams would like it was way too high. Like I would have one day going insane and it was a good stream and the games were good and everything was good, but then I'd have another day where it's horrible, so I'd just be 1500 LP for a very very long time, two
You're
months
not very good at
approximately.
you're not very good at like you wear your heart on your sleeve. When things are going badly for you, like emotionally, like it comes out very easily. Would that be fair to
Yeah,
say?
and I like I don't know how much there's a lot of things I think about in terms of like streaming, but the biggest one is like if you look at the like let's just say this, if you look at the biggest streamers, especially in the league scene, you will just see a very clear objective. If you're positive, you're going to have more people watching. Like the top 3 streamers in league is Cadrol, but he's in a league of his own, and then it's No Way and Bows. And it's like No Way and Bows, what are these two people doing that no one else really does? They're
Wholesome as
just
fuck.
laughing, smiling every single stream, every single moment. And that's very hard to do, but that's what you should strive to do. So even like people now, like the only advice I would say is like try to be as jolly as possible and enjoy it.
But you
But
talked
that's
about this.
way easier said than
You
done.
talked about this isolation. I think people would be surprised that you experience so much isolation because you're in a house with other people and you've gone there as a group and
Yep.
presumably you guys were meeting up. Like,
Yep.
talk to me about that because they were there to help you, but then you were still feeling isolated. So that sounds like a contradiction. Explain
Yeah,
that.
I mean, we've even talked about this like specifically with them because it's like I would say to them, I'm like, I mean, they would kind of like have the same as well, but they kind of had they still had the push of like doing the things, but I'd already done it. Like I
Yeah.
was kind of satisfied, and this is what also was bad. Like I kind of got satisfied already with what I've achieved. Sorry, but they weren't, so they were still pushing for this. And then it kind of like, even though I could talk to them, and obviously I would talk to them, it's still different from talking to people that aren't like we're all good friends, but it's like we're also co-workers. Not really, but it's like we're striving for something. Whereas if you're just talking to another person, it's different because you're just talking to talk and learn about them, about different things. And
Mm.
obviously we had a great like time there. Like it was an amazing experience. And so like I wasn't like lonely per se, but there was times of loneliness. And that's just like I kind of accepted it. I was aware of it. But
What are the like funniest stories that maybe people haven't heard from your time? Because I know being around Brohan, just things happen, and Dirt as well.
Brohan
Like, what are like the
Brohan is
funniest stories from the boys from Korea?
Brohan is just such a character. But I think the like we kind of have like Brohan is just he's just him and he's all over the place and everyone knew this and we all accepted it. Whereas like Dettard is kind of like the mediator, and then Beer is this very like almost like very stoic, very
Group
mental
leader,
driven,
kind of.
like very smart, like calculated, very like kind of quiet more in that sense. But it was like so the funniest stories is most of the time is Dettard doing stupid shit. Like like I remember the first days he was like, I'm gonna get shredded here. We gotta get creatine. I'm gonna go gym every day. Spear, you gonna help me? We're gonna go and demolish this shit. So me, Spear, Detter, Brohan, we went to the gym in the hotel, which was kind of bad gym, but anyways, it like worked out. And we had like insane chest day, which went nuts. And Spear was pushing us to the limits. We were like dying. Like there was a time where I was like, I can't anymore. And he's like, just pull up. I'm literally can't. My muscles are stuck. And Dirt would be screaming under the bench, I can't. and, then, and then I remember this is where I don't if anyone watches Brohans, they would know about this. But Spear said this quote, and he said, the man who said he can't and the man who said he can were both right. And Brohan, is this,
That's hard.
guy.
That's hard.
So he went like, man, I'm not joking. It took 2 months for him to stop saying that, and that the only reason he stopped was because he found another quote. Like he just says the same thing on repeat every single day,
And
and it drives us
he
all
does it in
insane.
like his anime voice as well. Like
Yeah, it's
the man
it's
who.
absurd. It's absurd. But anyways, Detter was like, I'm gonna get insane. But then he went to the gym twice, and after that, we started playing League. And I think he didn't like. I feel bad a little bit because I did so well that it was like you couldn't really replicate it. You couldn't do as well. It was hard to do. So when anyone just did slightly worse, they were seen as worse than what they were.
Hmm.
So it kind of like they were pressured and like they felt like they had a time restraint because they weren't as high as I was. So they probably got cooked themselves a little bit from this. But I remember like Detter, he like there were times during the career trip he would just lock himself in and he would not talk to anyone because he had a losing streak. And he would not talk with anyone. So like this idea of going to the gym went completely out of the window because he did not go gym. I think he went 2, 3 times after those first 2 days. Because we even went as far. We did like before, and we were like, we're gonna do an after picture as well. Everyone got creatine. We're gonna get, we're gonna go to the gym a lot. And then like I remember there was one time, like 2 months in, Detter, we're all watching a movie, me, Bro, and Spear. Detter opens his door. We haven't seen him in days. He's like only in his boxers, and we're like, that's a Turkish dad right there. He's just a fat belly. He's just walking around. He's like. And we were all laughing our asses off. It was so
Uh,
good.
oh, that's
There's
good.
one. I have one other thing that was, like it drove me insane, but I realized kind of have to accept it, and that's with Brohan, because Brohan's very.
Yeah, he's not
Like
all there.
he's ADHD, like actually,
You
and
know,
it's bad.
when I met him, he was like in my Diamond 2 solo queue game, and he linked his stream, and like I literally the first time I met him, he was on his stream, he was like talking in the anime voice. He's like,
Yeah, no,
"I'm going to be rank 1, brother. You don't understand. The path is my destiny. I have to follow it." And like to be fair to him, he actually ended up being like really good, but like you
he
wouldn't have
got
guessed.
really high. He did really good, and he
Uh,
improved very quickly.
But you were
But I
saying the thing that
remember
annoys you, sorry.
he has this trait where, first of all, he will always walk around with no shirt, which is just like we would just be looking at him like, why do you not have a shirt on? And he just pull on his Gen G jacket instead and be like, I don't need a shirt. And like he'd just walk around. But I remember in the early days, we were trying to like set up to go and like eat places and like go around and explore. And we'd always be like, okay, Brian, let's go eat. Brian just start walking back and forth, and we'd continue our conversations. It was all of us sitting in like at a sofa basically. We continue our conversation. We're like thinking, oh, he's like, I gotta go shower, and we're like, oh, he's gonna go shower. But he just keep walking back and forth. And at some point, one of us would clock in and be like, Brian, do you not need to shower? And he's like, yeah, I need to shower. And we're just looking at him. He's like, yeah, I will shower. And he will have to take someone to go, Brohan, go shower. And he's like, oh yeah, right, I need to go shower. And then he's like, take his stuff and go shower. And then like when we're leaving, it, it would take 20 minutes to do just go out the door. And it's just
Yeah.
one of the most unbelievable things I've seen in my entire life. And like that dude, there was one time he was streaming and we could eat breakfast at the hotel, and me and Det were going to go eat breakfast. And I was like, do you want to come as well, bro? And do you want to come? And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna come. Let's go breakfast. And I'm looking, it's not in a game. He's just setting up his things, and I can see him setting up like, oh, they'll watch the Twitch stream in the meantime because he was streaming. And I see him, everything is set up, and I go to like get my shoes and whatever. And it'll take like 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm giving him time. It's okay. I'll be patient. And at this point, I kind of realize he does this. I'm like, I'll be patient. And I'm like there with dirt, and we were like waiting to go out. And then like 15 minutes goes by, and I'm like, what what is this guy doing? And at some point, I'm like, Brian, like, are you coming? Like, we're leaving now. He's like, yeah, yeah, I'm coming. And like there came a time I went to death. I was like, Dirt, I'm gonna go fucking insane. This guy needs to come now. And he's like, Natty, Rohan is his own character, okay? You need to have patience. This is a good test for you. Have patience. And oh my god, it was absurd. But to be fair,
It's because he thinks
I
he's
did
Zoro. He
I
thinks
learned
he's
it.
Zoro from One Piece. That's the
I don't know
problem.
what he thinks. I think he just forgets like there's some things going on that don't make.
I wanted to ask you, who were the best players you felt that you played against in Korea?
I'm not saying this only because I want KC fans behind. But Kyu
You,
is very good.
your mic is cutting out a little bit. I don't know if you can like move it
Oh,
closer or.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this only because I want KC fans, but Kyu is very, very good. That guy was insane. And I think that's the guy I beat for rank 1. He was very good. And obviously, like, so like for the people that don't know, like my early stages was all these pros all the time, every game. There was one period, like a week straight, there was full LCK lobbies every single game, or LPL. Like it was the most fun league I've ever had in my entire life, and I enjoyed it so much. Um, and obviously, like out of those, like I remember I played against Tarzan one time, and he played really well. I
Show
think I
him,
played
Sanium.
against Can. What did you say? Oh,
Nothing.
okay. And then I played against Canyon, and he was very, very good as well. I beat him fair as well, fun, but you can just kind of tell they know what they're doing. I think the best player from solo queue, but this might also be recency bias and person I played against the most, was the DK Charvel guy. Like I could tell he was good. Like he was playing really, really well. Um, and then like mid laners wise, I remember I glazed Seka a lot. I did not see him do mistakes. Like he would cook everyone on every champ, every game. Like I played against him a lot, I played with him a lot, and he was always winning, and it was so annoying. And support like a Peter was insane as well. KT Peter was so good. Um, then there was a lot of like I remember when I played against Gumayusi, it's always this like because I play Rengar, ADCs are scared of me, but that's the wrong approach. Gumayusi does what I basically only Kalist does. Wait, let me think. From EU perspective, he is the only one in EU that does this, I think, Kalist, where it's like these balls of steel, where he'll be like, no, I'll kill you before you kill me. And he'll just start fucking whacking you. And in my head, most people run away, so I kind of expect it. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting cooked. And like I remember him, he would always be aggressive and always fight really well. But and then I played against Chovy, and I played with Chovy, and he was insane as well. Faker, I remember I played with, and we had this was actually was against, and he had a Skarner. There's a Skarner one trick pony support. I swear that guy's the worst player of all time, and he's just running every game down. And I remember someone sent me a clip of Faker afterwards, going like, "Oh, this Skarner is griefing." Like, can we? He's like reviewing the game. What is this Skarner doing? I swear he was about to ban that guy. I hope he did, but he didn't.
He's about to activate the riot red button.
Literally. But there was a lot of like I kind of want to talk about this a lot, but there's a lot of very very good Korean players. But those are kind of the ones that
Did you
stuck
have any
out for me.
interactions? Because I remember watching, like, obviously you've had like hilarious interactions. There's like one Draven guy that you played with that
Oh,
you had
he's hilarious.
he's
He was
hilarious. But
good.
I wondered, did any like pro players add you?
Yep.
Who
There
added you
was
and like talked to you?
actually I don't remember. Like I remember I had Seka and I had Peter in my friends list because I thought that was sick. And I remember they like I don't know what I said. I don't know if I said anything to Seka, but I remember Peter. He said I was good, and I thought that was awesome because I love him. I think he's such a good character as well. I swear, I don't know if you've interviewed him,
Yeah,
but you should. That guy is
I'll try.
he's hilarious. Like he seems like the most jolly good person I've ever met. Um, but outside of that, I remember like there's a there's P-Sang clip where he's glazing me, the Yasuo player, and he's like, "This guy is the best boot camper we ever seen play," which was that was very cool to me because he's I guess the player that outside of pro players is considered like one of the best in Korea.
Hmm.
Um, and that was very cool. And then like I remember there was oh, what's his name? There's a T1, I think T1 rookie, which is I think the highest academy if I'm not wrong. Maybe it's not. I think he's called like Janus or something. He added me, and at the time he was like rank 2 or something. And he added me. He's like, "You're insane. You're awesome. You're so good." And like the DK Charvel guy, he added me. He's like,
This
"I
DK
will give
Shovel guy, is
you."
this a pro player?
I don't know actually. I don't. I
Because
would
DK
imagine.
makes me think damn one, but how do you
I
spell
mean,
it?
probably. Yeah. I mean, he had Dome one, and then Charvel after DK Academy. I would imagine.
Okay.
But he added me, and he was rank 2 at the time as well. And he's like, um, and he gave me jungle a few times. He's like, "You're insane. Just go jungle." Um, so there was like I couldn't really believe that happening, to be honest, because it's such a weird thing that people are like, "You're good," because we don't do that here. Like people don't ever like. There's no. I mean, I guess it makes sense because I would think of them as good, and I want to like. There was always this praise.
You
Like
feel
if
like they
someone
don't? You
added
feel like
me,
they don't need to hear it? They already know it.
like yeah, kind of. That's why I mean, even then, like I would still praise them, right? In Korea, it's like if you add someone, you're praising them for being good, or potentially sometimes you're like, this could have been better. But it's always this like exchange of like trying to get better, which is so
Wow. Okay.
foreign from what I've experienced. Because when you're adding an EU, you're trying to do death threats and like telling you that you're the worst person of all time and that you shouldn't play this game. And like, yeah, that doesn't happen as much. I think in Korea, I don't know, maybe it's just my experience being
Well, it's
biased
because
because that's what
they
people were
can't. It's
doing.
because they can't tell you it in the same language. I
Yeah,
suppose you were
maybe.
getting people to adding you and saying, I'm paying $10 a game in Master Tier. You're going to
No,
be staying here for a while."
that was actually the lore of this is someone donated to me like $2 and had that text speech. And I was reading it. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I mean, that was hilarious. I threw that master rank anyway, but
Did
I
you?
don't know. It was just
Was there
it
something with
was very
someone in
cool.
the chat type this? Was there something with Jackie Love, or is someone wrong about that?
What did he say specifically? Or
They just said Jackie Love when we were talking about loads of different players.
I mean, I played against him a lot. I think that I remember it kind of lucky because when I was doing my like first like win rate climb, I guess you can call it, where I was like hooking people left and right every single game on Rengar because no one was banning it yet. I played against a lot of pro players. Like I think I played against I don't know if it was Rule. I played against Elk for one day, like 4 games in a row, and I was just cooking him every single game. I played against like Goom. I played against like most good ADCs overall
Like Viper,
very early
Ruler.
on, and it was just like the best thing ever because I was just cooking them on Rengar, and they can't do anything because I'm an assassin, which was a lot of fun and good clickbait, anyways. Um,
Lula.
Lule, exact. But there was yeah, I don't know. I mean, I played against everyone I wanted to play against, and I played with everyone I wanted to play with. I remember there was one game I played with Zeus as well. He was playing Rek'Sai top, and it was a complete losing game. And then we just all of a sudden just like probably 10k down, and we got ahead from just killing everyone on repeat on sides.
You know what I'd
So
love to do? You know what would be like an amazing content thing in the future is if the next time you go to Korea, if I'm out there doing interviews, I'd love to bring you to the LCK studio and just have you sit down next to junglers you've played against and just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm that Rengar player who's like terrorized you before." I'd love to see like how people would react to you.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Korea. I think when I was there was a lot of like I'd flame it sometimes, but in general I didn't because the games are just so much better. And over the week now that I've been back, I've kind of like come up with these points of why I think that is, and also how it is just better. Because in Korea, you'll play a game, and there will be, 8 at least, maybe even 10 sometimes, but at least 8 out of 10 players are really good, like really good players. And they know how to play what they're doing, they know what they're doing. And then there'll be like 2 players that aren't as good or bad. And that's kind of like the standard then the like because no one you can't always have everyone. That's impossible. Like there's some frauds, some griefers, whatever whatever you want to
Skarner
call them.
support.
Also bad games, bad games. That's just what happens, right?
Yeah.
But I've realized when I come back to EU, and this is the mindset I had when I was in EU before, it's like you'll have 2 good players and everyone else is dog shit, which is so absurd because it's like how does that even happen? And like like you look at the LPs of all these players, and it's like I don't understand how it makes sense because in Korea, there's for example, there's some one tricks and there's some niche picks. Like there's a Shaco one trick support, and the as I said before, there's the Skarner one trick support, and there's obviously
As
like
a Rengar
P-Sang
support
top
player as
lane.
well.
Yeah, so there's a Rengar support play. He's like GM, but often these people also be like GM low chal, maybe challenger. And there's some niche picks. There's the Shasik, the Hecarim one trick as well. There's some one tricks. There's some content people, and there's like some weird picks here and there. But it's like Korea has this standard of they won't let some fraud just get high elo.
Well,
Like they will not.
you'll love this story. Do you know the story of Dopa in like season 3 or 4? Where
No,
he like on the last day of the season, like he inted. I want to say it was Sunday on the last day of season. He inted a top laner because he was like he didn't think that he inted Sunday on the last day of ranked so that Faker could get rank 1 because
oh, I've heard.
he didn't think that a top laner deserved rank 1. He thought that only a mid laner should have rank
Yeah,
1.
I've heard something. Some days, that's the Rengar guy, right?
No,
Am I
Sunday
wrong?
was like a pro player. Like he played in NA for a bit. He was a pro player in Korea for a while as well. I think maybe he
I thought
played.
feel
He was
like he's the guy who like got known for being the only guy who ever played Rengar. But maybe I'm
that
wrong.
is possible. Yeah, yeah. Someone's
But
confirming that.
he was also the guy who played. That was my rank 1 game. He played Rengar top against rank 1. But anyways, I realized that afterwards. But anyways, that's pointless. Um, but yeah, no, what was I saying? Like griefers? Oh yeah, like I came back to an EU and I'm looking at some of these players, and it's like I'm not gonna throw shade, but I will. It's like I swear you would not find these Sona players in Korea. You would never do that. Another one is like you would not find a guy at 14. We have like infestation of these like 12, 13, 1400 LP Shaku jungler players, and it's like I swear that just would not fly in Korea. Like this like I came back and I'm like I'm looking at my teammates and I'm do you not feel ashamed losing to this like champion? Because there's like to some degree there's like champions that should not win. And that's one of those champs that like you shouldn't be allowed to win with Chuck. It doesn't work. And
You've mentioned this
somehow
is the second time this has come up in conversation where you've sort of been angry at this region for not showing like national pride, or rather regional pride as a broader thing, because it's not about being Spanish, French, or Swedish. It's about
yeah,
being European. Because you brought it up earlier and you brought it up now. So my question would be for you going forward, what are you going to do to champion regional pride? How are you how is it changing you? Like what are you going to advocate for?
we need to kick these bad players out. And I need all the good players to band together and make that happen. Because we have pride, but in the wrong direction. There's so much pride in our own ego instead of being like the team's ego. And it's so triggering because you'll play these games and you'll have one to like I've played now. So I've been back in EU for a
2 weeks.
week or maybe two almost, 1.5. I'm playing the same players every single day, literally the same. Like there's no variance. Like the amount of times I played against Vladdy, Agrin, and there's some other players that it's just the exact same challenger players with a few random GM or low child players every single. And I'm just wondering where are I mean maybe it's off season and that's why I don't know. But it's like where are the good players? Like where are like for example in Korea, this is what I mean. This is why I find it sad to be European. All these good players, like I've even mentioned, a lot of these good players, like DK Sharvel, he's an academy player. Because if you're an academy player in Korea, you need to prove yourself. So they will go really high in solo queue and they will do some crazy stuff and try to win every single game. There's one person that I've figured has done this in EU, and there's probably some other ones, but they are most of the time like already LEC players. So one person I respect a lot is Skumon because I feel like at the back of his head, he came to G2, the best European org, like just period. Maybe not all time. I don't know, Fnatic. I don't know. Who cares?
Nah, it's
But
G2.
currently, last few years, it's not even close. It's not even debatable.
I've been out partying with Sam Matthews. It could never be Fnatic.
There you go. And he came in as a G2 jungler. Did he come from ERL? I think so,
Yeah,
right?
he was playing in LFL.
He came from ERL, LFL,
BDS Academy actually.
and he's like, I'm gonna go rank one. And then he just has this standard rank one, plays insane amounts of solo queue, plays a lot of good solo queue the whole year. That's what people do in Korea. They will, I mean, from what I understand, I'm not, I don't know, but from what I understand, it's like if they want to make themselves something, they're gonna go really high up into the ladder to be like, I did that on top of what they're doing in pro. And here I'm like, I feel like there's also like this complete directionless amount. Like there's too many people that play solo queue in EU that have no like want and direction and purpose. They're just playing to play, and it's so sad to see.
But devil's advocate, if someone is playing Shaco as a one trick and they're 1200 LP, you're also playing Rengar and Munder all the time. Is the difference between the two of you not just that you're better?
No,
Okay.
and I'll explain why. First of all, Shaco is like an actual dog. Okay, that's not really true. Every champ can work, but I've realized that as well, and I've thought about this recently actually. But Mundo, I will disagree because Mundo is actually a really good champ. But it is kind of also like, sure, it is because I'm better, so I can make it work. But it's like I'm trying to, like, I cut corners because my champion allows me to. I remember even this is something Yamato said, and I realized that makes sense. My two champions are champions that are complete tempo, like cheat in the sense
Mike's
of,
cutting a little bit.
like they can cheat a lot of tempo in the sense of if they are starting Drake, I don't need to have set up vision for Drake because I'll click a button so I have full vision, which is Rengar R. And then like if I'm playing Mundo, first of all, I want to have vision, which is like important because you want to control. But anyways, if I don't have vision, I can also tempo cheat and then I'll use walk in and phase shift. So I play a lot of champions that allow me to do certain things that are like against the rules of league, I guess you could say. So I like that you said that because I've self-reflected on this as well. Like I'm a one trick and it's not good for the game, I guess, to some degree. and I agree with that. The only thing I will say, and this is kind of coming back to, so I'm not just talking a bunch of bullshit, to the point of like jungle doesn't matter too much of champion choices if you're playing something that can win the standoff. And Rengar wins every standoff. Like every 1v1 level 4 he will win. Um Most of them, at least. There's a few outliers, but in general. And he can put himself up against most other champions. But that champion is, of course, a one-trick champ, and it is some things that I do that shouldn't be
Yeah, I guess the question would be,
happening.
are you not also contributing to that kind of one trick culture?
Yes, somewhat. But also, it's like I don't mind certain one tricks, and I think one tricks is good because it gives light to champions that are actually good in certain specific scenarios. But there's also champions that are one trick that I would never mind having on the team or even playing against because they can always work. So, for example, um, like if you have like there's certain like I don't know what an example would be, but like um, there's like there's certain champions that kind of are always fine and you can always win every matchup. Um, Whereas other champions are like you'll have them in your team and it feels like from draft you're at a disadvantage because you're just fearing and hoping that the enemy team will not know how to play. And the sad reality is that most of the time they will not know how to play. So you will actually be able to win with. But I feel like you
I
shouldn't
suppose
be
it's the
able to.
difficult where like lots of people wouldn't say that Nunu's a strong champion, but it bends the game so much towards its particular win condition that it's not as harmful to play with. Like you can have a Nunu that literally ganks three lanes in 3 minutes and wins the game via that.
I mean,
In
like those
comparison
champs, I
to
don't
like
mind.
yeah, in comparison to like I don't know what's a champion where you feel like it just loses you the game if you see it
Sona
locked in
is
jungle.
not playable. It's playable in specific scenarios, but these bastards are picking it every game. Respectfully speaking, of course, but there's no respect from me. Anyways, moving on. It's like I don't want to play with a Sona player that is playing against a Pike or any champ. Honestly, any champ. It doesn't do anything. And the worst, oh my, I just realized this is what triggers. They don't play the champion to maximize what the champion is good at because they're so far up their own ass. Sorry, respectfully, that they think they know some divine intervention knowledge that they're like, I'm gonna surprisingly, I'm gonna go Ludens first on my Sona actually and go full damage. That's not what the champion is supposed to do. Like at least play play it in the way it works. Like I'm seeing Seraphs embrace Sona first. Like please, Ellis, can we get some statistics on this? But that don't make sense. And it's like I played with Schubert again. If you guys know, you'll know
Yeah,
who this is.
Shoebart, yeah.
And he's playing Ignite Electrocute. Like I don't know what maybe it wasn't Electric. He's like playing Ignite Sona and building uh, full AP. And I'm like, what's going on? So they don't even play the champion to like play the champion. And it's like there's a Shaco player as well. He just I swear he goes to shopkeeper and he asks what's up, and then he just builds something. And it's like they think they're so smart, but they're just so dumb. But anyways,
I
I
suppose for you,
shouldn't
it's a
play.
thing where, to kind of logically unpack that for me, the thing that strikes out to me there is that it's kind of the thing of like, if you're in a position where you're building AP on Sona, it's almost like you're working back from the position of, I'm going to pick Sona. Okay, Sona is bad. How do I make it good? But if you've arrived at the point of Sona is bad, why are we discriminating further down the, like the tree, like the question tree, yes, no, and it leads into different things? Surely we stop at no. But it feels like retroactively, when we get to the point that Sona is bad, we're saying, but how do we make it good? Okay, we build AP. But that's like a disingenuous way of like
But
following
that don't
logic.
even make sense. Like that's makes
Yeah,
it
that's what I'm saying. That's what you're
that's
saying.
like a no into a no, and it's like where's the no into the yes at least? Like at least give me the yes afterwards. Like it just it's ooh, it doesn't make sense. And this is what I came back to with the pride. I don't mind them picking it, and I swear I wouldn't mind losing with it. I would be annoyed 'cause, like I can't win, but that's fine. It's like I get annoyed more if I'm winning with it or if I'm losing against it because I'm like, where's the pride of like how can you look at yourself in the mirror after you lost to full AP Sona? Like at some point you gotta go, this is not okay. And
This is
like
not the way.
these one tricks, these champ players, they're terrible. They don't know league at all, and I'm not very good at either. But it's like they don't know anything. and they are 1500 LP. They're top 50 in the server. And it's like, if you
How much of
okay,
that has to do with Sorry, no, actually, carry on because I feel like you're about to say something.
how I'm actually gonna ask you a question. How many teams in LEC are there? Is there 8 and now 10 for winter this year, or how
No,
many
there's
teams
10
are
and
there?
now 10 and now 12 for winter.
Okay, so there's 12 teams, 5 players each, which means it's 50 LEC players every single split, right?
Yeah.
And I understand a lot of these players are screaming a lot, but realistically, all of them should be able to maintain challenge. That's just like, if you're a challenger player and a good player, like for me, for example, getting challenger is not a thing. Like, it just happens because you win games.
Well, that
So
Zoxy style guy
realistically,
did like literally like he celebrated like it was New Year's Day when Larson got challenger. Larson was like master tier for like 4 years.
and he's playing LEC,
Yeah.
which is fine, but it's like, that don't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It really does not make sense. And then it's like, outside of these 50 players, right? There should be a somewhat nourishing or like flourishing ERL scene. I don't know how many teams in LFL, but that's the one that's always spoken about.
10,
But even like German league and Spanish league has
10
always
pretty
been the
much.
three that are like kind of good.
Yeah.
And then obviously NLC was a one-team region,
Well, have you thought about
realistically.
this? Think about this. This will be beyond you because it's like you're so much younger. I went on stream the other day and I was calculating every new player into LEC in the last 4 years and like where they came from. And I didn't do the statistics, but like anyone who was watching will know. I think it's like literally pretty much every name is from LFL. And if they're
Yeah,
not from
that makes sense.
LFL, they're from the Spanish league. There's
Yeah.
actually like more like the ones that are like rare instances, it will be like Jackies from like the Czech league or like
Mm,
I think X Matty was no X Matty was LFL, but there's like some players, there's like one or two players who even came from NLC, but it's like you look at it and it's like
yeah.
so contextual. But think about this. Think about how many players now come into LEC and they're French or they're Spanish, whereas like the legends of this region are like all Scandinavian, but like there's no new Scandinavian players because the ERLs are just shit. So the point in which that talent is developed is just shit. Like back in the day,
That
it's like Caps, Sven,
yeah.
Bjergsen, like Svenskeren, all of these guys, they're all Scandinavian. Like our best players are Scandinavian, and like there's none of them now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, maybe, like, I am not French, right? So I don't know what it was like growing up playing League in France, but
Well,
um
it's more just that
it's
the
like,
reason
no,
that
no, what I meant, 'cause I need to finish this, but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what I meant is like, for them, maybe like, for me, for example, I didn't even know we had a league, you know? Like, I don't know what even existed, but for them, maybe it was like an actual thing. Like, they would watch the LFL and they would like know about French players and the French league in general, and that would be like a goal. Like, for me, pro play was only LEC when I grew up. Like, I didn't even know there existed ERLs, to be frank.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
like, I don't know if that's the case, and if that is the case, then it's like obvious that there would be very few talents because it's just not like, it doesn't exist. The league doesn't really exist, and that's obviously sad to see because there's talents that don't get developed.
Well, you're someone that would have fallen through the cracks. You didn't even know you probably would have never played pro in your life if it wasn't for me like randomly finding you because of my friend.
Which was like briefcase almost, which is
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's very, very random stuff, and how blessed we're here. Good.
crazy stuff. It is crazy. So I suppose the main thing you're talking about there when you talk about Korea versus EU, and you're kind of making this pitch as like the mayor of Elo Town for Europe almost, which is nice to see. And I think it is something you should use your platform for, and I would implore you to, because I'd love to see our region do a better in that sense. But you're talking about the main difference between in Korea, it's a culture of progression. It's not about uplifting because I don't think that it's not. It is uplifting to a certain extent, but it's more about just, oh, you're good at this thing, so therefore I'm going to acknowledge that because you've helped me to get better. It's not
Yeah,
about
yeah.
you. It's more
I
about
for
you are providing
sure,
a benefit to me. Whereas in Europe,
like,
it sounds like you're saying it's about putting people down and like you're shit, so therefore that's good because you're shit and I'm not.
yeah, I mean, kind of. And I like, I for sure have a bias from my experience in Korea because I became a big streamer. So I think, and I had a lot of buzz around me. So I think a lot of them were like just excited to see it, kind of, in a way, if that makes sense. So maybe it's way less positive interactions, but I feel like in general, and I don't know if you know this, but this is something I find interesting, and I instantly disabled when I came back to EU. It's like you cannot use alt chat in Korea. It does not exist.
Oh, really?
I think so. I don't know. Maybe my account was bugged, but like it doesn't exist.
Maybe you couldn't read the
So
settings.
no, no, no. It just doesn't exist, which makes a lot of sense because why would you ever need to communicate with the enemy? Now, to be fair, I've always been like I believe like trash talking is a good thing. Like I like the idea of like Mervin like screaming at the top of his lungs, swearing in Spanish when he's winning. Like I find that interactive and cool. Like the CS community where they're like,
Mm.
"Oh, you suck!" Like I think that's cool, and I like the idea of like not being friends and rivalries inside of the league. But like for solo queue, there is never any reason for me to communicate with the enemy. Like I'm all for communicating within your own team, but you don't need to do it with enemies. And then like uh, another thing as well in Korea, there can count the instances where people are like typing in the game about the game, and in the sense of like about past things in the game that don't happening. People are not gonna be like you grief, you're annoying. Like that's the foreigners coming saying that to them, and they're like, what? We don't do
Does
that
this not, because I need to play devil's advocate, because the idea that a lot of people have a career, or not even just an idea, it's an experience that people share. They say a lot of people who like run the game down, lots of early FFs and stuff like this. Do you think you have an experience that's different because you reach the complete upper echelon? Because some could criticize you for painting an unrealistic expectation of what career is like, because other
Yeah,
people
I
have
mean,
said,
like I'm not saying anything about master because I'm not master.
okay.
Like I don't know, like I'm not
That's
fucking
such a
GM master.
dickhead. Such a
No,
dickhead way of saying it.
but
But
no,
yeah, I
but like
agree.
do you know? I don't know if you saw that one tweet I did from my boy Tarzan. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
show
Where
him
it's like,
Zanium.
okay, if you're mad about masters, then come up to challenger. Like it's not hard to progress through those ranks. It's not hard if you're good enough. But and that's not even a dickhead move. I'm not even doing that like as some egoistical like maniac. That's just a fact. And the
Okay,
experience I had as challenger was great, and I really enjoyed it.
okay.
There's a lot of differences between the solo. Like for example, I had absurd queue times. I swear there's server differences here, by the way, in autofill as well. Because in Korea, there's often way fewer autofills than in EU that I've experienced. Maybe it's a patch thing. I don't know. But that's something I've noticed, and I would be in queue for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes at times as well. And this is not like, oh, you were playing bad times. No, I'm playing like peak time that I've been informed of were peak and are peak time. So the queue times are longer, and the game quality is just always better. And I'm kind of getting back to this of like, I think it has to do with the fact that I guess maybe it's just because esports is more of a realistic career choice. And I looked at the chat because I have the chat open, and someone is like, he's forgetting that it's also about having fun. Yes, League is about having fun. It's a video game. But when you're challenger, most of the time you're working with, and then it's not to have fun. If you have fun while doing it, that's probably why you're doing it as a
It's a
career
byproduct
because
rather than a name,
it's a
though.
byproduct. But like these people are most of the time doing this as their work, so it's not to have fun. And I don't understand how the people that are doing it as for their work aren't playing in my games with me in Challenger because that's where they should be.
So basically,
And
your thing about Europe is you feel like you're clocking in for work every day, and you're like, where's everyone else? Why did no one show up to work
kind
today?
of. I mean, kind of low key. That's a good way of representing it. And then like the people that are clocking in are like Sona one, and I'm like, why is he even here? How did he even get into the building? It's like, where's the security? That's what I'm seeing, and like that's kind of the vibe of it, and it doesn't like it doesn't make sense. And I find it sad, and it's saddening to see because I'm just like in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, so who are the people that are supposed to represent us playing against? Like, who are they playing? Because if I'm playing at challenger level and I'm seeing that the game is dog shit and everything doesn't make sense, and
Hmm.
there's so many like um windows of just, like pure grief, then what they're seeing is like masters. And people say, like as you said, like people think Korea Masters is bad. I don't really know, to be honest. But if Korea Masters is bad, like imagine EU Masters. Like this has to be
That's where
illegal
DonJake. That's where
for our
DonJake
pro
was a
players
few
to be
years ago.
playing there.
You might
There you go.
queue up and find DonJake Nunu.
And also, I think I mean, again, like, to be fair, what you said, I haven't thought about that. Like, my expectation, I'm biased. But maybe I played at the peak. But like this whole, like, everyone FFs in Korea, and like there was a lot of doubts from me coming in Korea, and everyone's like, he's gonna do dog shit because I'm considered this one, like, full clear Andy, and I only full clear, which I
The
pride
people
myself
were
in.
saying that you were too slow for the games. The games are too fast for you.
The games are too fast. I'm too slow. Like, it is fast, and like coming back to EU, I'm like looking at these junglers, and I've even started like I started doing it as well, and I think maybe that is the problem, that we are allowing ourselves to all be cheated by each other. Where it's the best example of this is when Grub spawns in Korea, you will have one quadrant down, and all the junglers will know what I'm talking about. You will have one quadrant down, and then you go Grubs, and sometimes you don't even take the full quadrant, and you just take one or two camps to get level 6. Or is it 7? Like, it might be 7. But and then you're fighting at Grubs. And it's like, if you're greedy, you will take 4 camps, and if you're not greedy, you will take 3 camps or 2 or 1. And then you will be on Grubs on spawn. But in EU, we're taking 2 quadrants, and we're coming to Grubs at 9 minutes. And it's like, I'm looking at this, and in the beginning I was like, what are they doing? And then I'm like playing the game, and they're just grieving Grubs. They don't even care about the objective. What is happening? Um, and I don't know. Maybe the Korean way is wrong, and we're doing it right, and we're playing better. But I feel like it's also this kind of this thing where it's a bit Grub specific in the terms of we don't actually know how to use that objective,
Hmm.
and we're not good at pushing leads. And I think, like, even from an out, you can correct me, because I mean, you're not like in this. I mean, you're in the sphere, but you're not in the I guess, high elo sphere, if I can say that. I
If
don't
I
know.
wanted to, I would, but
Um,
just
uh,
it's not really my calling.
but it's like, I feel like a general assumption is that EU is not as fighting, right? We don't fight as much, and I feel like we don't push ourselves to the limit, and we don't progress as fast. We're very, like, laid back, take the minions, take our farm in the jungle.
Well, I
We don't
think
really
to
forward push it.
to add on something, because I mean, like, this is the use of me doing these interviews. I don't need to tell you what I think. It's like Darren Brown. You seen the thing when Darren Brown beats 8 chess grandmasters? He doesn't play chess. It's because he memorizes all of the moves and he plays them against each other. So I've spoken to so many people now that I can just tell you what someone else told me. One of the biggest problems that Europe has, I can't remember who said this, but someone will be able to correct me, is that in terms of responsibility with leads, when they get leads, it's like a thing of like they try and squeeze too much. There's no comfort in terms of like what the game is. Like a Korean team in pro play will just be like, this is how we're going to win, and like we're just slowly, methodically moving towards this. Whereas like an EU team gets a slight lead and they try and extract so much value. It's like that thing where they try and literally pick up all the gold bars inside of the collapsing mine, and then instead
Mhm.
of like getting out, they just like die because they took too
Yep.
much. It's like they're not comfortable playing towards the win condition like confidently is the big difference.
Yeah, I mean, something, I mean, there's like few things that I think, and and to be honest, I need to say this as well, to have like some form of, like, so I'm not just shitting on my region because I love you, but also I've made it very clear, because I've seen a lot of people come back from Korea, and they'll be like, "Oh, Korea is so much better," blah 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 blah. And I made it very clear. I even said this, bro, and he can attest, and say this is true. It's like, guys, you all need to make sure when you come back from Korea, don't flame
Uplift.
EU. EU is as good as Korea, and like, we're not like worse. We shouldn't like bring each, like, we shouldn't think
Shouldn't
we're
have an
hot shit.
inferiority complex.
Exactly. We shouldn't think we're like hot shit as well. We're not better because we came to Korea. Like, all these things, and I made it very sure. Like, first day, I'm like trying my calm, chill. I'm not saying anything. And also, for so everyone knows, like, my account decayed, but I instantly played full challenger lobby, like, literally. A few here and there grandmaster, but whatever. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. We're just playing the game, playing whatever. Like, it's fine. But like, very quickly, I realized that we are just worse. Like, the that there's like few things that we do that are just so clearly much worse than how they play it in Korea. And one of these examples is like our ability to understand how to fight is so much lower than if you're playing in a random squad in Korea. Like I'll play full, like it's just random people, right? And all of these people will all know what every single one of your teammates are doing and are supposed to do.
So that thing you talked
So
about earlier when you decided Alix was good, was when you swapped targets to the same person at the same time. You feel like you can do that with mostly every player in Korea. Would that be fair to say?
yes, and it's like another thing of that to implement that example is like then also the Alix would know, but also my whole team behind me, the three other people would know that we're doing that, so they're gonna play accordingly. And like you'll see, like there'll be just this absolute cinema piece of like team fight here and there that just don't happen in Europe. It just will not occur. And then it's also like when you're pushed back, like when you're pushed back, they are trying to squeeze something. Like people, like I find it so sad. Like I've always been for and against this, which is this whole FF and no FF. Because I truly believe you should not FF games that you can win. But when I say that, in my head, I have a view of how I will win the game. And therefore, I will not FF. But here, there's so many people, and not to bash ASAP, well, I think it's a positive thing in general. But there's so many people that just implement this and are like, no FF. I will never FF. And
But
then
you're
you'll ask
basically
them,
what you're advocating for is a method of thinking that's has buts and evaluative
exactly,
processes
where it's like,
because binary is not healthy in terms of
it,
thinking.
it's it's like I don't like sometimes I'll be in EU and they'll not FF and I'm like, okay, so what's the plan? And it's just dead silent because they don't know how to. It's like it's also a sign of respect, and that's what I mean. We don't respect each other. Where it's like they were like, enemy team is gonna grief. That's not. They don't do it like that's not. That's not something to play for. We don't. Like I understand it if you are below gram like lower elo for the majority of the player base. I understand it because enemy team is bad, but we are challenger. We shouldn't expect. It's like I don't know if you're familiar with chess, but it's like if
Yeah.
you're playing chess and you're losing, you FF, you resign.
No,
Not losing,
in chess it's more
but
of a thing
yeah,
of you don't play out a position whereby it's completely lost because it's disrespectful to your opponent.
yeah. That's what we are playing out
Because
in Europe.
the idea is basically if you play it out, you're insulting the opponent's intelligence because it's like if they're of a
Exactly.
relative skill level, obviously if it's lower elo, it doesn't matter. But if you're both
Yep.
of a decent elo, you wouldn't play it out because you're basically saying, despite the fact I'm down multiple pieces, I believe that I can get a result out of this. Therefore, I'm insulting your intelligence.
And that's what we do in Europe. We will never FF, and we just assume that enemy team will in. And what's sad is that it's rewarded because enemy team will in, which is because they don't know how to even win the game. There's like I genuinely believe that there's a lot of players that are in Challenger and they don't actually know how to win the league. Like they don't understand the terms or like the turns of progression. And to me, it's just sad. Like I don't get mad at my team often. I'll get just sad. I get mad, but
Yeah, I
I'll
was gonna
get more
say
sad.
that's a lie. You're a little baby rage
That's
when
a
you
lie.
play.
I get mad, but it's like I'll get more
Literally, I watched
sad.
you play Kiana just before this. You're like, it happens every game. It's the same thing. That's what you said.
I mean, it is the same. No, I'm trolling. But that's also a toxic mindset because sometimes, for me specifically, a lot of like if you're trying to get better at solo queue, you can't expect perfection because people will not be perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't even expect perfection. But we need to
I want to
like
pause
be
you
good.
because I feel like it's going to go into what you're saying. I want to give you a minute to 2 minute speech. You are the advocate, you are the prime minister, or you're being voted in as the mayor of European solo queue, and you're giving a speech to basically uplift the entire region and convincing them to have that pride and follow on from the legacy of what Brohan said to you about come back to Europe and uplift the entire region. Speak into the camera and look into the camera and speak as if you're speaking to the entire European solo queue. What does Natty have to say? What's his speech?
Now you spotlight. I would say that we need to firstly start respecting each other, both opponents and teammates. We need to stop wasting our time, and we need to start actually developing and getting better. And we need to realize our own flaws and what we're bad at. And I'm saying this to
Yep.
myself as well. And we need to learn from it and
Talk to
go
him.
forward. Because if we don't do that, we're gonna sit here sniffing some copium,
Mm.
saying that G2 is gonna do something, when we all know they won't do anything. And the other teams, we don't even remember who they are. And I wanna look into next year's and be like, we can win World because we're good enough. Not because we're gonna draw some shit team that never do well internationally because they have nerves. Not because we're gonna draw the bad team, but because we're gonna draw the good teams and we're gonna play better than them. I feel like we are such copers in like we are sitting here praying more for our drawings in worlds than we are praying for us to play well. And that's sad.
True. That's good. That's good to hear. Rounding out the interview, NattyNatt, 2026 and going forward, is there any chance that you'll play pro play in the future?
Yeah. Yeah. I if there's a good offer, I will.
If KC came knocking, would you like to join KC?
I don't wanna take spots from good players. I'll
But
rather take it from the bad one.
if Yukino moved on, for example, and they were
Mhm.
looking for the next person, like where would be places that you'd want to go? Because you talked about
Oh,
before,
KC's for sure, for sure. There's like certain I would go to certain I like there's certain Spanish leagues or teams as well, but yeah, KC
obviously
is cool.
if Ruddy got like $1 million, like you'd be coming right back home, but we don't have that
Nah, you didn't.
unfortunately.
I mean, I know you ain't paying me shit, so I'll go anyway. Like it is what it is.
Fair enough. Respect that. As we round out, is there anything else you kind of you had on your mind you wanted to share?
Um, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like
Oh, actually, a good question I had for you. You talked about players in Korea that you think are really good. What are some players in Europe that you think are really good? Because we've done a lot of doom and gloom about Europe, but are there players in Europe that you play solo queue with and you think they're really good?
there are for sure. Again, like I find it
You
like
like
the ego in
Odysseus,
me.
right?
Yeah,
Why the awkward pause? You think he's good, no?
on Thalia, he's good.
Oh, okay.
Um, I can't say many junglers because like again I don't like I can't view them as better than me or it
You don't have
becomes
to view
weird
them as
then.
better than you. View them as good.
But there are like for example I always said Mainter is very good. I think he's a very good top laner. There are, I mean, a lot of the other ones that I thought was good back in the day, like Nako is already gone LEC, and we're seeing him now, and hopefully he'll do well. Um, there's a guy now I'm playing with a lot. He's called I don't know what he's called in like actually, but he's called like XXXXXX a bunch of X and then a one, and he plays like Irelia Akali almost only, and he's just cooking people. So he's pretty cool. I think he's very good. Supports, God help them. Um, uh, ADCs, I mean, like again, like the only one that I can really think of that did anything that I was very impressed by was Kalis, but that was
Vizpers
before
is up and coming, right? Have you seen him play?
who? I
Vizpers?
played. Yeah, we actually had we spoke in Korea, not like IRL, but we were in call. He played well. He played really well too. I think he's good, and it'll
He's
be
gone to
interesting to
Vitality,
see.
but he was going to be Ruddy's ADC. It's a shame we lost him to
Oh, really?
Vitality Academy.
That's good though. I mean, that is good. I mean, not
I've
too
still got the
bad for
talent. I've
you,
still got the talent ID. You know.
bad for you, but it's good. Like I like when there's these. I like big orgs when they have good players in their academy because I guess to round this interview out would be like I want if you're an academy player in EU, I want you to really try and get better and focus on improving. And like we need to, yeah, what I said, it's like we need to start respecting and thinking we're all good together, because it like there's too many frauds and we need to kick them out. Like they have had their residency way too long in Challenger, and they need to, like Humzh, get out. That's what they need. That's what I
Amazing.
would say.
As a final thing, Natty, because I was so butthurt and upset at the fact that Yamato got a shout out when you hit rank 1 and I didn't, now that we've done our interview, like, do you have any words you'd like to share about me?
And you know, you know, Regan
Yeah,
did a tweet long time ago.
don't do it. Just be nice. Just be
And I
nice,
saw
man.
that bookmark and I liked that and you know what I'm talking about. And that is the funniest video I've ever seen. And then you started even leaving the crumbs afterwards when you jumped over.
Yeah, amazing.
Peak comedy. But I would say you've been a very good mentor, person.
You cut
Very
out.
great.
You're cutting out. Please say it again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I said you've been a very good mentor and a good good friend, I would almost say. And you've helped me a lot, and also a lot of insights about myself I've realized, just
I take I
very
take
helpful.
I take a lot of pride in that, and I look forward to seeing you do even better in the future. You've grown so much, and you've done so much in the last 2 years, and I can only sit in confounded sort of surprise as I watch Natty take over the world. And I hope you mean what you said today, and I hope you uplift the rest of the region. NattyNatt, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, DonJake. Appreciate it a lot.
No worries. Have a good one. Peace.
Have a good one.
Anything you want to say to the fans, or?
Um, W fans. Nah, I mean, like, you can in my
Yeah,
stream you will know what I have to say, but yeah,
absolutely.
appreciate you guys for the people that watched, and maybe from me or other people that are watching. I appreciate you watching. And, hope you learned something about me, and if you didn't, then unlucky, I guess. I'm very
Absolutely.
outspoken, anyways. I like talk.
You will learn something another time. Thank you so much, Natty.
Have a good one. Have a good one.